Hi there! Welcome to another episode of our video podcast. We profile inspiring people, discuss industry trends, share valuable tips, and almost always goof around too. And as you listen to a conversation among friends with a shared passion, we invite you to sit down, get comfortable, and park here. Now let's begin. Here are your hosts, Park Cruz and Romel Marcelo.
Hey, and we're live. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I'm your host, Park Cruz, and welcome to Park Here Live. This is episode 21 of our live show. Guys, we're currently streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Join me tonight are my co-hosts. Sino pa ba naman silang dalawa? Syempre, Romel Marcelo and Maki Alejandro. Go, go, go!
Akala ko, welcome to Boring Mondays.
Muntik nga eh. Gumano yung dila ako eh. Anyway guys, musta? How are you? On a Wednesday night, which is something different.
Wednesday, big night.
Kala ko nga weekend ngayon eh. Pero pare, si Maki kamusta yung mga Romel?
Kamusta ba ang biyahe?
Kamusta biyahe dulo Saya 5:30 Bikutan, hataw siya. Nag-ala na siya F1. Kang from Cebu. Hi, mukhang marami.
Kamusta na kayo dyan sa Cebu?
Yeah, we're currently at 11 million. Uy, may balita ako. May dadalaw daw ng Cebu. Nabalita ko lang. Ayon sa aking bubuet. Tama ba, Romel? May nabalita mo ba yun?
Nabalita ko. Actually,
may dadalaw.
Sabi na kanina doon daw magkakaalaman.
Oo. Alam mo ba yun, Maki? May dadalaw.
Hi, Sir Donel.
Rebel, kung alam mo yung opportunity na gusto mo makaisa kay Maki, ngayong gabi mangyayari. Ngayong gabi. Anyway guys, good evening guys. Welcome to episode 21 of our Park Here live show. So rami ang ganda tonight at we have a guest tonight, special guest, solo. And again, we're doing profiling tonight. Anyway guys, shoutout mo na brother.
Yun.
Go.
Magandang gabi kay Doc Franco and kay Sir Gamarts, kay Sir Nick Garay. Magandang gabi.
Oo nga pala, kita kayo, no? Wala kayong picture so wala kayong proof na nagkita kayo, di ba?
Kasi nga, literal yun eh.
Wala daw ka parking daw.
Nagbabalang yan ng bintana, tas abot sa akin, tas kinuha ko, tapos ganun na lang. Tas alis na. So, yan yung mga tipong Godfather moves.
Parang napaka-fishy nung abutan na yun. Yun yung mga ganyang na raid na eh.
Yan yung mga
Pero epic yun.
So how was your day, Maki? How was your day aside from the traffic? Meron naman
talaga.
Napapangiti.
Basta.
Bati mo na yung mga tao natin at mga viewers mo. Kuya Edwin from Los Angeles is watching too. Mukhang marami rin eh.
John Ivanea, hi there. John Ivanea watching while working now. Si Donel Gomiran
from Dubai. Mukhang marami gusto makaalam ng buhay ng guest natin. Mukhang marami manunod.
Kasi naman, napaka-interesting naman kasi talaga. Kasi kahit, diba, nag-text na kami lahat, ang dami niya na kwento. Tapos, just a while ago, ang dami pa rin nadagdag sa mga kwento.
Sabi ko nga sa inyo, kumbaga, ito yung another version of an Energizer Bunny, diba? Non-stop yan.
Yeah.
Kaya nga, tama.
Natin, madaming mare-reveal tonight. Tingnan lang natin kung
reveal ba? Takot. Pag reveal, nakakatakot yun. Talaga, baka ma-reveal pati yung damay. Anyway,
Franco, naligo ako. Marami lang akong suit dito sa bahay. Marami.
Wow.
Yeah.
Parang, tinulugan mo yan nung Monday pag gising mo Wednesday.
John Hagner from Camarines Norte is watching. Alright. Alright, Romel, trabaho mo natin. Few words from our sponsor. Go.
Yan, so syempre maraming salamat sa lahat ng mga tumutulong para magpatuloy ang aming show na Park Here Live and then the Boring Mondays. Maraming salamat kay Sir Ryan Tablante of Riley Corp, Neil and Jet, of PS10 Incorporated, Ramil Portes of Single Reflex Camera Services, Handito of Abacus Microcomputers, Sherwin of TCA Digital Square, Chef EC of It Matters, Michael Lim of Audio Radius, para sa mga audio needs nyo, just contact them. Miss Kid
Para pa tayo nag-relo.
Lola Costa, Creatives,
Salbahe ka bakit?
and Nick Doodles. Yan, Nick Doodles, guys.
Hello ka bakit?
Yan.
Salbahe ka bakit?
Biglang lumabas. Bakit biglang lumabas?
Lolo ko yun. No, it's a joke. It's a joke. Don't worry. Oh, no.
So, ituloy na natin. So, syempre, sa G4 in Philippines, maraming salamat.
Sorry.
Linis
Basta
Deli.
tayo-
Say sorry, Baki. You have to apologize in public.
Walang hiya ka, Maki. Walang hiya ka.
Wala ka kinalaman dyan, Romel. Maniwala ka. Kami lang ni Baki na ano. Anyway, Baki.
Yan.
Okay, good dude. You wanna do a recap of last episode, which is episode 20 with Sir Noli Gabilio. Ano naalala niyo during the time?
Ay nako, si Sir Noli yun yung, alam mo yung epitome of the traveler. Tama-tama yung title na traveler, island traveler. Kasi nga, imagine, lahat ng isla sa Pilipinas, maybe just a few. Sinabi na niya parang more or less.
Ano ba sabi niya? Ilang percent na lang ang hindi niya na,
ng Pilipinas
5% na lang ng Pilipinas ang hindi niya
and
napupuntahan, di ba?
The great thing about Noli Gabilio kasi part of his job is an advocacy na to make tourism sustainable and very environmentally
Yeah,
friendly.
yun nga, di ba? Yun yung advocacy nga niya.
Yes,
Si Romel
kaya
ba
nga,
nakikinig, no? Parang wala siyang na-share. Ikaw, Mel, ano natatandaan mo during the time?
Actually, to be honest, hindi talaga ako nakapanood doon. Hindi talaga ako nakapanood kasi meron akong trabaho that time. Pero, yun nga.
Kahit replay, hindi mo pinanood?
Hindi ko pa actually.
Sir Noli, talaga hindi siya interesado sa buhay na so. Ayun lang yun talaga. So, kasi kung interesado siya, pinanood niya ho yan. So, we can't do anything.
Nakasama ko naman si Sir Noli doon sa Tech Check. Actually, marami naman siyang senior about
Saka after how many years, natahimik rin yung bumabagabag sa akin. Napatawad niya na ako sa paglipat nung isla sa Batanes. So, diba? I was carrying
actually,
that.
Pa siya nga, ang term niya parang natuwa pa nga siya na nasi-share yung Batanes. Pero sabi lang niya, nag-guess na niya sa parang hindi lang doon yung isla. Pero
wala
gets
talaga.
niya yung idea na
Pero
na
sabi ko sa iyo, when that incident during the people days when I was starting, I was playing around with Photoshop, changing area. Kumbaga, I was playing around with the idea of just transferring an island to a different place kasi it looks good there. Yung pala tiga doon yung nakakita. Siyempre, parang wala yung isla na yan. So,
diba?
how would I even defend myself, di ba?
Siya pa rin talaga yung tao na who never forgot yung roots niya, fishing, being a farm boy, being proud of it. Tapos,
Sobrang humble beginnings at saka yung ang maganda doon, Maki, I still remember yung the way he handled his work and people today. It's because of yung mga natutunan niya nung pagkabata pa niya. Yung humility, yung pagkasipag na yung mga ganun.
Ng waking up, yung discipline niya sa paggising na yung without an alarm.
Dito nga yung diba dapat dito yung kantang Island Boy eh. Diba? Alam mo
tsaka yung tsaka siya yung marunong bumasa ng stars kung saan ng direction.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that. Doon siya yung ibang level. Panoorin mo, Romel. Kakaiba.
Oo, sobra yun. So, panoorin mo yan. Matutuwa ka doon, Romel.
Alright. So, singit tayo ha. Singit lang ako ng current events ha. Ang cute yung current events eh. Dude, 3 linggo na lang. Malapit na. Magkakaalaman. Oh, excited na ako. Birthday ko na. 3 linggo na lang.
Guys, maglalabas kami ng GCash para sa pa-birthday. Pwede ba?
Pa-birthday bash namin 3 weeks. Wag na kayo bumoto. Magpag-GCash nila kayo. Pero,
diba?
Pero seriously, guys, vote wisely. Hindi nakukuha ang pagbo-vote sa kagandahan ng kulay. Tingnan nyo rin. Hindi Crayola yung binoboto nyo. So, yun lang sasabi ko. Tsaka, again, Diyos ko, mag-ingat naman kayo sa virus. Mukhang gano'n na naman. Para nakakalimutan nyo na meron pa rin. Again.
Season 4 na ba? Season 4?
Wag naman. Ang ganda. We're doing great already. Pero nakita mo yung mga laman ng airport saka yung beach. Nakita mo yung mga taong tumingin sa araw, sa sun. Parang ngayon lang nakakita ng sunset sa Boracay. Ang rami nila doon. Diyos ko po.
Lahat na klase ng sunset nakuha na sa Boracay.
God, wala na masabi. Imagine nyo, yung mga kasama natin from Taiwan, Hong Kong, hindi sila makauwi, guys. Walang makauwi. It's because of natatiming tuwing
While we're enjoying here, yung ibang country nagsisimula na naman mag-lockdown. So,
ang raming candidacy wisely. Vote mo nga, vote wisely. Accorde mo accorde mo, John.
Sir John
ganyan Bawas na.
Doc Franco, pakita mo yung sinabi ni Doc Franco. Doc Franco,
where's Doc Franco? Okay, ano sabi niya?
True, very true, Doc Franco. Very true.
Is that sarcasm?
Actually, halos sa lahat naman ng lugar, parang wala ng COVID. Yung iba, wala ng mask.
Hindi, kasi ito lang yan. Why am I parang paranoid? Dude, look at Hong Kong, Taiwan, tapos China. Ang tagal na mababa, biglang shoot up. So, sa Pilipinas, pwede bang hindi? Saksak pa naman ang linis dito sa Pilipinas. Tingnan mo, di ba? Ang linis-linis dito.
Malalaan natin yan after election.
Pero guys, let's forget about the bad vibes. Let's talk about the guest. Ito, I'm excited to talk about this guy. Okay, I'll give you a brief, yung take ko sa tao na to. Our guest na is one of those people I love talking to. Ito yung taong na I could grab a cup of coffee or a bottle of beer and I'll end up going home happy kasi nadagdagan yung knowledge ko. Hindi yung katulad pag nagkainuman kami ni Romel, sama ng loob ang dala-dala ko pag uwi. So magkaiba, Romel. Yeah. Kasi 'di ba, may mga friends ka, makakainuman mo. You'll end up pag uwi mo, depressed ka rin kasi dala mo yung sumbong niya. Itong taon to, dude, guaranteed. From the first time I met him, the first time nakasama ko yan, is kape o mag-beer. Yung level of conversation, so Maki would be a proof of proof. Kasi si Maki nakasama niya sa tech check. Maki, how would you describe? Tama ba? No dull moment, walang mababaw na
mag-live noon, nag-live na kami.
Diba? Para na kayo mag-show na doon.
Ng Wednesday night, diba? Paganda na yung sinimula namin nung nag-tech check kami, pwede na nga
But he's one of my favorite, hindi niya alam to he's one of my favorite people in terms of pagdating sa conversation, short sa learning, basta in terms of pagka-geekiness nito kasi ang rami kang topic na pwedeng pag-usapan sa kanya. Kanina, Romel, di ba? Tingnan mo yung shifting niya. You went sa backstage, you were talking to him. Diba? Meron siya kwento na would adapt to yours na regarding wedding. So, walang dull moment for this person. Yun yung ganda na to.
And actually, yung mga kwento niya, it's by experience na ba. So, lalo talagang interesting.
Wag mo sabihin by experience, para sinabi mo saksakan ng tanda na. Hindi pa naman George Tapan level to na ganun-galo, di ba? Anyway, pero aside from that, I got to parang join him in one of the work na nagtuturo siya. I'm really impressed of the way he talks, the way he communicate with his students. Sobrang how would I say, he's a technical guy, but he has a way of explaining things that he would entice you. Ako naaaliw ako, lalo na pag alam mo ba, pag nagiinuman kami, ang topic namin Photoshop. Oo. Pero dude, and I end up just listening. Kasi why? Kasi the way he would talk about Photoshop with passion, with masaya siyang kausap sa Photoshop kasi he would describe the tools na hindi ko pa naalam o hindi ko pa nakita, pero oh shit, no. So, iba yung kwento. So, we don't talk about love life or yung sama na loob. It's basically like those...
May bumabasag ng monologue mo, 821 dati.
Sino yun?
Sir Borge,
binabasag yung monologue mo.
Borge, wag ka nga magulo. Binibuild up ko yung guess ko. Kasi ikaw hindi kita ma-build up. Wala akong magandang pwede sabihin sa'yo eh. Gulo-gulo. Wag ka magulo. Pero tapos aside from that, alam mo ang isang natandaan ko doon. When I was still new and I got to para visit his shop in Green Hills kasi meron siyang studio doon. And he was one of those people na grabe ang rami niyang ini-endorse na product. And until now, makikita niyo And one thing na pinakagusto ko sa kanya, compared, ang raming nag-i-endorse, raming mga, ano bang tawag sa anong mga new terms sa endorser? Mga influencer.
Ambassadors, influencer.
Dude, this guy, before he was gonna endorse something, he's gonna make sure na na-test niya o nagamit niya. And isa sa mga taong nakita ko from the start na ganun siya. Kumbaga, talaga tried and tested before he's gonna endorse. Tapos, parang may nasabi nga siya yung during when early days ng photography ako noon. Parang sabi niya, you better have yung mga parang sponsorship, ang branding that would build your parang career. So, siya yung mga nag-tip noon. Alright, so for short, no dull moment for this guy. Alright, yes, Maki, about you, your experience with the guy?
Ako yun nga, sabi ko sa inyo, kung pwede lang talaga kami mag-live nung nag-tech check na kami, ginawa na namin. Kasi,
kasama mo ba si Romel doon? O wala na naman?
Hindi, wala ako nun.
Wala kami dalawa lang ni Sir Joe noon. Kasi parang, ano rin yun eh, parang yun yung available time niya. I was also available that time. Tapos, isa pa nga doon sa mga napag-usapan namin, parang yung anong gagawin niya.
Linawin natin na makapula yun. So, hindi ko alam kung ano yung pula niya. Alamin natin kung ano pagkapula niya. Right now kasi ang pula maraming baka alamin natin.
Uy, trivia daw, sabi ni Borge.
Uy, I didn't know that.
Uy, actually.
Uy, hindi ko alam yun ha.
Uy, mukha
Nice, Borge. Wala ka pa bang inside scoop? Padala ka pa lang inside scoop para nadagdagan. Anyway guys, Romel, Maki, can you do the intro for the co-host and let's bring him?
Yun, so siyempre yung ating guest for today isa sa magagaling na workshop facilitator here in the Philippines. Actually, na-meet ko siya sa Shutter Master Pro, doon ko siya na-meet. Isa sa mga
Pinansin ka o pinalabas ka?
Pinansin naman kasi pinakilala mo ako eh. Kasi kung hindi mo ako pinakilala, baka pinalabas na ako doon. So, and then he's one of the great professional photographers here in the Philippines. Yan. Siyempre,
kung nagkaka-problema connection yata niya, in and out
No doubt naman yan, no doubt. And then, isa sa mga mahirap i-describe sa kanya na he prints photos. Parang sabi niya, parang he's a printer, parang ganun pa yung kanya.
Ang hirap pag sinabi you're a printer. Diba? If you're a printer, yeah, diba?
A print connoisseur.
Grabe. Medyo ang lalim nun, Maki. So, ayun, so syempre, wag na siguro nating but anyways, Maki, baka ikaw, meron ka pang something na i-add.
Actually, binanggit ni Park kanina na he is one of those guys na just give him 5 minutes of your time. Yung 5 minutes mo na yun, 3 hours yun ng walang dead air.
Hindi siya yung lolo level. Alam mo yung lolo level, nakikwento na ubus oras mo. Hindi. Kasi ito,
back and forth yan. Kailangan makakuha din siya ng input sa'yo na, do you know about this? Tapos kapag I can relate.
May interest. He'll get your interest yan. Magja-jive. So, ibig sabihin, Romel, kahit yung sa area o specialty mo, kaya niya talaga may story kayo pag-uusapan.
Oo nga eh.
Alright, so without further ado, Maki, kindly bring in the guy.
And without further ado, the star for the night's episode.
Star of all season.
Let's all welcome the star of the night.
Give a warm round of applause to Mr. Kodaker himself. Finally, a sit-down interview here in Park Hill Lab, Mr. Joe Avila.
Hi, good evening.
Yan.
So welcome, Sir Joe Avila.
April. Bago natin. Guess for April. Sir Joe, hi. In behalf of the team, thank you for allowing us to have you here, finally. How are you?
Okay lang.
Parang hindi.
You're cutting into my fortnight time, but I'm still good.
One night, a fortnight is good. Okay lang yun. One night lang ba absent lang. Hindi ka doon. Anyway, dude, maraming salamat. So, dude, Maki and Romel, Kelly, for all the viewers, can you tell what we're gonna do tonight? Go.
So tonight is gonna be different from your usual boring Mondays. Because sa boring Mondays, nandun yung a little bit of profiling. 95% is all about goofing around. Here in Parker Lab,
And photography, di ba? Itself, yeah.
Here, it's profiling the guest to the extent that we get at the end of the show, hopefully, the audience would get a grasp of why, say for example, our guest for tonight, why Joe Avila is Joe Avila. What makes him Joe Avila? What created that image of a Joe Avila? So yun yung hinahanap natin dito sa Park Here Live.
Which is normally, hindi pa siya na-interview sa ganito. Yung talang buhay niya kasi ang kukunin natin dito. So, Joe,
magpagdamdaming buhay Sir Joe Avila.
Kumbaga, ang Park Here Live is the alta version ng mga marites.
Hindi naman. Ikaw naman, Maki, babaya gano'n. Hindi naman tayo para namang ususero lang.
Kung ilalagay natin sa mga TV shows, parang magpakailanman, maalaala mo kaya dati, kaya.
Sort of, yeah. No. Pwede na pa natin pagandahin. Ako na nga mag-explain. Guys, it's almost like parang 60 minutes or yung mga ganun. Pabira kayo, MMK yung mga comparison nyo.
Siyempre, para top natin yung ating mga manonood ngayon. Siyempre, makamasa tayo yan.
Ganyan na ganyan ba yung campaign strategy mo? Kaya top.
Anyway, Sir Joe, hanggang gulo na itong kasama kong dalawa. Anyway, bati ka muna before we start, sir. Bati ka muna sa milyong-milyong mong katigahanga. Go, go, go.
Hey, good evening, guys. It's nice to be here. I've noticed that I see some former students making comments. Yes, I know who you are.
He still remembers.
Yes, the statute of limitations has expired.
So, yan, di ba? Pero yun, thank you again. Again, maraming salamat, Joe, for giving time. At mahababang ganito, tonight, I really want to know more of Joe Avila aside from just the instructor, aside from being an ambassador. Marami. And we're just curious why you're into that thing, ba't ka ganyang ka-enthusiast sa pagtuturo, and why you like gaming, do you like gadgets, we wanna dig in. Kasi we want to see the roots, kung saan gagaling yung ganung passion mo. So, iba-iba. So, during all the shows na nagawa namin, doon namin, alam mo, the normal reaction, alright, kaya pala, you're like that. So, doon nalalaman namin. So, tonight, ikaw naman ang tama nga, marites nga talaga, there's no other way of just describe, talaga marites. Anyway, Sir Joe, the purpose of the interview is actually is to know you better as an artist, a friend, a husband, a person, as a human being, in a deeper level. Yun yung main purpose. So tonight's not just photography, not about Photoshop. So not your common Q&A na tatanong, sir, paano yan? So mapapahinga ka nga tonight. So wala na magtatanong.
Auto levels lang yan.
Yeah, auto levels. So, so, Sir Joe, as a practice here sa show, we don't really normally introduce our guests to the full extent or talagang detailed, because we want our guests to introduce themselves on how he or he wants to be known like that. Kasi kung minsan, ganito lang palang kasimple ang gusto ko ganito ako. So, who's Joe Avila?
Okay. Well, me, personally, I've been shooting photos as a hobby since 1988. Then I started working professionally in 1990. Now, what I do is I print photos at Shuttermaster Pro in QC.
So, ganun ka-iksi na lang yun pa. Pero, sir, although, yung ano ba, photography was your first, talaga, choice of parang, art expression? O may iba pang...
Hindi. Actually, no, hindi. Ang nangyari was, my father wanted me to become a lawyer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He wanted me to become a lawyer. And I needed a way out. So,
Photographer. Parang layo, photography.
Hindi.
Yeah.
So, I got accepted at Ateneo, and then I took up ABCom. And my father was, why not pre-law? I'm like, Dad, in Ateneo, any 4-year college course is pre-law.
Wow. Teka, nakalusot yun?
Hindi, it's a fact. It's a fact.
It's true ba?
Walang pre-law sa Ateneo noon. It's a fact.
Oh.
Talaga? Oh, I didn't
Oo.
know.
Kaya nga, pilosopo lahat ng mga nasa Ateneo, hindi mo ba napansin, Maki?
Actually, pilosopo kami kasi when you graduate from Ateneo, you have your major and automatically you minor in philosophy and theology.
Di ba?
Given yun. So anyway, di ba? So I had 4 years to forestall my father.
What happened next?
Mga around 3rd year of college, I got into drawing.
All right.
And yeah, di ba? Got into the arts. And I convinced my father. Sabi ko, Dad, I made a decision. What? After I graduate from Ateneo, and he's looking for the L word. I want to be an artist. So I want to transfer to UP and take up fine arts.
Yeah.
And
From
goes,
L
ganong
to
katagal yun? Di ba? Ganong katagal yun? Kasi tagal ba ng law school? Yeah, I suppose. So,
I suppose pa eh.
di ba? Anyway, he was against the idea.
All right.
It took a month of lobbying. Di ba? Na, bring it up subtly. Kunwari. Then after 1 month, he was like, okay, we'll make a deal. Sagot ko yung matrikula mo. Anything after that, you gotta work for it. So you have to find a job. Mag-working student ka. Okay, that's fair. Diba?
Yeah,
that's
okay.
very fair. Then I came across 2 visual artists, Hockney and Warhol. I found out that they would take Polaroids of what they saw, then go back to their studio or wherever and draw from it. And that appealed to me na, hey, I don't even have to bring a sketch pad around. I knew nothing about photography, so basic photography was a minor. Was an elective at Ateneo. Diba? It was like a 1-sem thing. So, ang problema ko noon was wala pa akong elective units. So, I showed up at the class, tapos nakiusap ako sa teacher. Sabi ko, this is my situation. I want to learn, but I don't have elective units. So, can I sit in?
So gano'n lang ginawa mo muna. Alright, sige.
Yeah. And then he was like, sige, pero may mga conditions ako. What? Whatever they do, you have to do. And you can never tell me that you won't commit to it because there's no grade in it for you. Okay, sige, fine. So I did, I did the whole SEM of basic photography and I was so active, akala ng mga tao I was officially enrolled.
You're part of the class already. Yeah.
Oh! Then, that was 3rd year. Then, nung senior year college, I showed up again for the same class. It was the same teacher. And he was like, mag-enroll ka na. Sabi ko, hindi eh. Actually, I want to sit in again. Why?
But did you mention that to your dad na you were lobbying or you're joining some class about photography that time?
Oo naman. Kasi I had to explain why I was coming home late eh. The class started at 5:30.
Oo nga naman.
Di sabihin mo lang, nakatambay tayo, Tia Marias. Yun lang naman ang tambayan. Kasama mo yung mga katipunera, di ba? Yung mga ganun lang.
Katipunan was puro bahay lang sa harap. Walang
Isa lang ang hangout dyan.
Diba? You stood at the football field, you could see Iglesia ni Cristo at night.
Sobrang luwag ng time.
Luwag.
Ayoko sumabay. Mahalata na may mga edad na.
Baka mag-compute mga tao.
Continue with your story.
Okay. So, I told him na naubusan ako ng elective units but I'd like to sit in again. And he goes, why? Kako, you took it na last year. Sabi ko, well, there might be something new to learn. And then, my teacher tells me, do you want to make a career out of it? I'm like, why? Come to me after you graduate. Diba? I'm like, okay to, no?
Okay to
Yeah, diba yung, I have a job offer. Like, that's security.
At least meron na, no?
Yeah. Actually, I was so secure, I was lax na my mother began to wonder if I would actually graduate.
Kasi
nga.
Diba? Like, why do you need a diploma?
May trabaho ka na, diba?
May trabaho na eh. And the trabaho was not dependent on the diploma.
Ganyan napapalayas
sabi ron niya, nung pumipila ako to go up the stage to receive my diploma, pinindot niya ako, get up from my seat, walk towards the stage, and she wanted to make sure na I actually got up, received that piece of paper, and shook the hand of whoever gave it to me. Kasi nadala na siya sa akin from grade 3.
What happened to grade 3? Mukhang na-trauma yan sa...
Well, grade 3 kasi, I don't like math.
Yeah.
So, and I would get math homework. Ang style ng teacher
you don't like math? You? Parang highly, parang you like formulas. For me, you're the formula guy, pero you hate math. Diba?
Well, kasi...
Weird,
Well, okay, this is my reasoning about math. I can compute. Diba? You've seen me compute stuff. Ang problema ko lang is that there are some things that was not explained to me why I had to learn it. That's my hang-up with math. Why do I have to learn domain and range?
Which is I just need multiplication and addition. Parang ganun lang yun. Alright.
Diba? I understood why I have to learn matrices, pero domain and range, why? So anyway, ang nangyari was, pila ka, yung row by row, the teacher would ask you to come up with your homework, pila kayo row by row, give your notebook, she would check your assignment, you go back. So I would line up, then siguro mga second or pangatlo bago umabot ko sa teacher, I would sit down.
Okay. Sir Joe, curious, sa generation nyo sa Avila family, any artist or talaga lawyer talaga halos ang running sa family niyo, sa siblings or?
Well, siya, my kuya is a pilot.
Okay.
I am me, my brother is a chef. And my sister is a interior designer.
So, ikaw talagang napunta doon sa creative side, right? More on,
actually,
would you put that way?
Yeah, oo. Actually, that's something pa with my mom. I had to, at one point, I had to tell my parents, you guys have to talk more about me to people you know. Kasi I'd go to some place and then they go, oh, you're the son of ano? Oh, are you the pilot? No, that's my kuya.
Okay.
Are you the chef?
Okay.
No, that's my younger brother. You're not the interior designer. No, ma'am.
Of course not.
That's my sister. Diba? Who are you? Ma'am, I'm an artist.
I'm the printer. I'm the printer.
Kasi
mahirap yan.
My mom was using that term whenever she would talk to her friends or amigas na,
I see.
Anak mo ba yun? Oo. Sino yan?
Sonor.
Yung piloto? Ay, hindi. Yung chef? Ay, hindi. Sino yung interior designer? Hindi, babae yun eh. Sino yan? Si Cho. Ano trabaho niya?
Artist.
Okay
na yun. Kaysa
Artist.
naman, yan yung black
Ay,
sheep.
hindi.
Yan yung black diba? Ba't
There was
sa
one
yung
time
art?
I was coming home from the US. And then, nagkataon, nakasabay ko sa aeroplano, nakatabi ko yung nanay ng girlfriend ni Kuya.
Nanay ng girlfriend ni Kuya, okay.
Yeah. his future mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Well, actually, mother-in-law niya na ngayon. Anyway, she was like, "Oh, you're the brother of Sam. Are you the chef?"
Lagi wala yung Arnold.
Oh, no.
Hindi, kasi piloto na yung di ba? So, are you the chef? No, ma'am. You're not the interior designer. No, ma'am, that's my sister. What do you do? Ma'am, I'm the family bum. So,
and with Manila, conviction, and I'm proud of it.
So, I come back to Manila. My father is waiting for me. He fetches me. We're driving home from the airport, and then I told him, "Hey, guess who I saw on the plane?"
Your mom.
Who?
Your mother-in-law.
Future mother-in-law ni Kuya. And then he's like, "Oh, so what happened?" Well, tinanong niya ako if I was the chef. Ano sinagot mo? Sabi ko, hindi. Yung younger brother ko yun. And then, tinanong niya ako yung designer, interior designer.
Hindi rin.
Well, sabi ko, sister ko yun eh. Then, ano nangyari? Tinanong niya kung ano ginagawa ko. Sabi ko, I'm the family bum. My dad pulled over the car. Tapos biglang he started crying in his hands. Hindi na
Alak ko.
What?
Anong ginawa ko sa iyo para gawin mo sa akin to?
Yung mga kapatid mo, grabe na. Bakit yan sinabi mo?
Hey. Alam ba, kasalanan namin sa iyo. Minahal ka naman namin na. Di ba? Yan yung mga line eh.
So,
that's funny. Okay, so we're getting the picture. Now, tell me which point na you really fell in love with photography already?
Ano ba to? I think it was when my teacher offered me a job.
That was what was the ano ba exactly yung job? Or what was anong ginagawa mo doon exactly?
Okay, so what happened was literally I graduated on a Saturday.
Alright.
Rested on a Sunday, and Monday morning, I reported for work. Diba? I showed up at my teacher's office. Sabi ko, he goes, "What are you doing here?" Ay, patay, nakalimutan na pinag-usapan. Sabi ko, "You asked me if I wanted to work for you. I graduated
Pero
Saturday.
question
I rested."
Hold that thought. Why was the position offered to you? Anong meron ka nun na wala yung mga ibang tao at that time?
I do not know.
Is it the determination, the curiosity? What is Joe Avila during the time that you really caught their attention during that time?
Honestly, I do not know. I was just grateful for the opportunity.
Crush ka nun, pare. Crush. Gawa na lang natin ng cheese. Gawa na lang natin ng cheese. Walang reason eh.
Baka nanonood yun.
Sabi siguro, grabe naman yun.
Anyways, let's continue. Sige, sir. Before I rudely interrupted you.
So I show up for work, and then he tells me, where you work is a reflection of who you are. Okay. So you have to keep it clean and orderly. Okay. So the first thing you do every morning is when you enter the studio, you go to the closet, you get the broom, the dustpan, and you sweep the studio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, for me that's fine.
Oh yeah.
Diba?
Yeah. Well, first job.
Diba? Walis-walis. I came home. My father welcomes me home from my first day of work. And
Don't tell me sinabi mo sa dad mo ano ginawa mo sa job mo. Di lalo nagalit.
Yeah, I told him, Dad, nagwalis ako ng studio. Tuesday, came home, my dad asked me the same question. And I said, yeah, nagwalis ako. Wednesday, Thursday, by Friday, mainit na yung ulo ni Dad.
Ba't ka nagwawalis?
Alam mo yung feeling na, I sent you to Ateneo and
His words exactly.
Yung ka bakit?
Yes.
Oh goodness.
His words exactly.
Ang gusto mo lang pala magwalis, pabira ka. Dapat dito ka nalang sa bahay. Luminis pa yung bahay.
So, following Monday, I go show up at work and then I see someone new. And I asked the studio manager, sabi ko, "Miles, sino yan?" And then she tells me, "Oh, si Manny." "Ha? Sino siya?" "Bagong company messenger." So I go up to the guy and I tell him straight out, "Sino ka?" "Si Manny." "Ah, ikaw yung bagong messenger." "Yes, sir." "Nagwalis ka na ba ng studio?" "Ha, sir?" Hoy, nasa job description mo yon. Tuwing umaga, pupunta ka sa aparador na yon, kukunin mo yung walis at daspan at magwawalis ka ng studio. And I never had to sweep the studio again. I had
So
one
what was-
seniority.
Yeah. So what was the next now? When so work mo, that's photography related already yung work mo, right?
Well, siya, basically the structure was, you had my boss, then there were about 9 senior photographers above me, then it was me.
Okay.
And the way I was trained, I had to assist everyone.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So maganda.
Kasi naman,
Yeah.
Yung tanong ka naman sa akin ng boss ko dati was, what do you want to specialize in? Sabi ko, portraits. I goes, oh, we have a problem there. I go, why? Well, you want to become a pro. Yes, so the bottom line is the bottom line. Araw-araw, dapat may kinikita ka. What if today, walang pumasok na portrait job, ang pumasok ay product shoot? Or slide reproduction. Hindi mo gagawin kasi portrait photographer ka. You have to learn how to do everything. Diba?
Okay.
Kasi he goes, so that was my job. I had to assist the different senior photographers with everything.
Okay.
Shooting reproductions of slides, location shoot, ID passport, all of that.
So that would be, yun yung part na doon ka talaga na-train or na-polish ang photography skills mo, kumbaga, from that. But would you consider that your professional part of photography o meron pang stage after that you ventured to, let's say, you started to get gigs already?
No, actually, what was funny there was that my father kept on bugging me. That was always after the ROI.
ROI.
So,
Siyempre, Ateneo ko
diba?
pinag-aaral, pambira.
I think that if I had continued on to UP, Baguio, I wouldn't have had this pressure. Anyway. After 3 months of all of that, what I noticed was that when I would assist the photographers shooting, they were very particular about the background. Na it had to be, for the ID passport, it had to be pure white. Na walang light fall off yung kanto. Walang
Talagang puti-puti talaga, yeah.
Oo. So, anyway, one day, after 3 months at work, a client walks in, and it's first thing in the morning, and he wants an ID passport set. And the senior photographers were all having their coffee. And then they said, ikaw, you do it.
Ito na.
Ito na.
Diba? Sabi ko, okay, fine. I've set this up before. I know how to do this. Diba?
Yeah.
Alam ko na yung ratio ng ilaw. Diba? Just click. Tapos. Diba? 5 shots. Done. I set up the lights. And then, the guy's in his suit. And right before the first click, he tells me, I changed my mind. I want a formal portrait setting.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
Which is, wala.
Well, I'm like, okay, because you changed your mind, I have to get additional gear. Let me step out of the studio sandali. So I step out of the studio and I tell the senior photographers, he wants a formal portrait setting. Diba?
I don't know.
Diba? I don't know.
Oo.
So they're like, you cannot swap out photographers kasi tatanong, bakit nagpalit?
Magtatanong, bakit nawala?
Oo, di ba? You have to keep up your appearances. So ang ginawa nila, they told me, okay, nakaset up ka na for di ba? Yeah. Yung main light mo, urong mo rito. Tapos, I had a roll of film good for 5 shots. Yun lang ang package nun eh. They gave me a full roll of 36. Ubusin mo. Siguro naman, makakachamba ka na dyan. Awa ng Diyos, nakachamba naman.
Vote of confidence. What a way to motivate someone. Kung may machamba ka dyan, bahala ka na. Kaya mo yan.
Ito, yung 5 mo, dagdagan pa natin ng 29 shot. Makakakuha ka na dyan ng isa.
Imposible naman. Napaka-pulpul mo naman kung hindi ka pa makakuha, di ba?
This was a sad thing. ID passport was like 3 to 5 shots. Yun ang package mo. Formal portrait sitting, ano ka lang, half a roll. For the package. So talagang they give me a full roll, okay lang, sige. Kahit malugi ng konti, kuno. Diba? Basta makachamba ka.
Alright. Maki, any follow-up question bago tayo tumuloy? Or Romel, go.
Gusto ko
Maganda yung story niya eh.
Kung sinabi din ba ng father ni Sir John
sabi ko sa inyo mag-iikot kayo doon sa tatay. Sabi ko, hindi niyo papakawala. Curious kayo doon sa story, sa side ko, ano nangyari.
Sinabi na rin niyang na hindi kita pinasama sa mga Jesuit na mga pare para magwalis at sa loob ng studio.
What he told me Friday of my first week on the job. Pero Dad finally accepted it.
Yeah, because siguro naman nakita naman niya siguro sa inyo na
ang hirap naman kasi let's say ako yung tatay. Kumpare, kamusta na anak mo? Kakagraduate. Anong ginagawa niya? Nagwawalis. Paano mo di ba? Di ba kakagraduate sa Ateneo tapos nagwawalis, di ba?
Yung senior year ko sa high school, my dad gave me the big speech. Alam mo anak, the best gift any parent can give their child is good education. One of the best gifts. So, kahit anong piliin mo sa college, I will support you. Diba? So, like, Dad, ABCom. Dad, English Lit. Ano yan? Pagkakakita mo ba yan? So, the ABCom thing was a compromise na.
Totoo. No, actually.
Okay, pero Sir John. Sige, Maki, go. Sige, tuloy ba? Yeah.
No, depende ba. Usually naman talaga, first din niya talaga pag nagsasabi ka na ng course mo sa cash, anong trabaho mo pagkatapos? O may trabaho ba yan pagkatapos? O ano lang, parang yung mga inaral mo lang tapos hindi alam ano. Kasi that was a generation na ang alam, di ba yun nga, binention na, lawyer, doctor, what other profession, yan, yung magiging pilot. So, kumbaga nandun yung yung thinking ng mga medyo iba yung artist.
Iba. Kaya nga, tinawag reaction ni Daniel. Interesting. See? A story that we never heard.
So, ikaw, sige na ba? Anong mo?
Ang tanong ko naman, paano na-accept ng father mo, Sir Joe?
Maganda yan. What point of time?
Paano niya na-accept? Kasi, syempre,
is there may point of sigurado eh. Hindi naman pwede habang buhay ka minulto niyan eh.
Well, ano siya, yung my being a photographer or my taking up photography?
Siguro
I guess yung taking photography. Photography. Photographer. Yeah, iba kasi mas
well, ano siya eh. When my dad turned 50, of course, it was a big celebration. So I borrowed this is old. I borrowed a Betamax camera from school.
Laki nun Laki nun.
Diba? And I shot his whole birthday celebration complete with background music and all of that. Inedit ko. And he was so happy. He told me, "Do you want a camera?"
Yan na yung acceptance. Yan na yung acceptance gift na pala. Yan na pala.
Yeah, so he he's a pilot, so he flies abroad, he comes home. I bought you your camera. Dad, what did you get me? A Nikon F3T? Diba? I was hoping for an F3 Titanium.
Yeah.
Ito, ito sa Olympus point and shoot camera.
Oh my God.
At least talagang ginawa back to ginawa ka lang newbie ulit, di ba? So, pero
yeah. Well, anyway, my mom had a friend who owned a pawn shop in Mandaluyong, and he was selling an F3 set. offered it to my mom. My dad said, okay. No, pero, I'll clarify this, no? In spite of all of these kwentos, my dad was very supportive. Like, when I finally struck out on my own, they were remodeling the house. And Dad told me, Jo, do you want a dark room?
Shit.
Wow naman.
Wow.
Diba? Sabi ko, yeah, sige. Sagot ko yung kwarto, yung laman, sagot ni Mami. So, I had my own dark room in the house.
And that would be one moment. What was the reaction when he offered that? Just curious.
No, I was happy kasi I could design a dark room the way I wanted it. My sink was wooden. My sink was made out of wood.
Oh?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, kasi ang stainless steel dumudumi. So, I had my whole sink area was wood. And then you would paint it with marine epoxy to water seal it. And para the chemicals won't affect the wood. Then you would paint it black.
Aba.
Pero I'm gonna go back to the part na when you were starting work with your teacher. So, what was the goal when you were just starting? What was the mindset? What was the goal for you? Personal goal?
Actually, for me, the goal was experience. So
Experience.
I had no qualms about.
So that's why you
assisting
accept any
everyone.
job na kung ano iba to sa'yo kasi that's part of the training na rin and knowing what para something. Yeah.
Actually, it was down to yung writing the job orders. Ginagawa ko yun.
Okay.
Then, I was taught na this is how you cost it. Na if this is yung cost of materials mo, ganitong kalaki yung patong. Pero remember, we have to cover yung cost ng overhead, ng rent, kuryente, the salaries, all of that. So it was explained to me why you needed that much profit. Actually, it wasn't even all profit kasi nga you had other stuff to pay for.
Marami nakaka-relate sa pagwawalis. Si Borge Menezes said ako until na ako nagwawalis ng studio. Borge Menezes. Alright.
Speaking of, actually, balikan daw natin pala yung story ni Sir John. He mentioned nga, di ba, he was working in a studio. May nagtanong nung
what studio? Which studio? Para may isa nga doon.
Whose studio was it? Yung your first job offer.
Okay, Chroma Studio. My teacher who became my boss was Pancho Escalero.
Shit, si Pancho pala. Pambira, ba? Si Pancho pala. I didn't know that you were talking about Pancho all the time. Pancho! Dude! Kahit si... matindi.
Tama na tinanggap.
Tama lang. I would even accept kahit maglinis ng inidoro. Okay na ako doon. That's Pancho.
Actually, that was where I met I met some of the photographers now. Like I remember before, one of the first professional photographers I ever met back in Chroma was Wig Theismans.
Wig, yeah. Okay.
It was something else. So, Wig comes in, ang haba ng buhok, yung balbas bigote, malakristo.
Pang ano nga pang action star, di ba?
Sandals. Yeah.
Big guy.
I asked one of the senior photographers in the studio, sabi ko, sino yan? Wig Theismans. Sino yun? Hindi mo kilala yan. He's a famous photographer. Sabi ko, what is he doing here? This is where he has his black and white film developed and printed. And I felt so proud na I'm working in a studio where a famous foreign photographer would come just to get his stuff developed and printed. And then, Wig sits down at the counter, borrows their landline, picks it up, calls up someone. Then he starts talking Ilocano. I'm like, okay, not that foreigner.
Budol pala, budol moment pala.
Okay. When Sir Joe, what point in time during nag-work at that he said na, okay, I'll make this as my profession already? Or during the first time, yun na yung gusto mo talaga?
Ano ba? Well, very rarely do you get rich working for someone else.
Yeah. Pero what point there na sabi mo, I guess this would be, in the future, I guess this is my calling, this is my path, na ito yung gusto kong gawin?
I don't know. These things I just do.
Talagang spur of
Well,
the moment. Oh,
Sperm of the moment.
not sperm of the moment, iba yun. Si Romel yun. Si squirt guy yan.
well, I'll admit, there are certain happenstances along the way. Like when I was shooting solo, I didn't own my own lights.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even have
Okay.
a light meter. I had the gear but no lights. So I used to go to Island Photo in Gamboa just to rent the lights.
Okay.
Yeah.
So see guys, ito yun, he started that way. Hindi mo kailangan
Hindi bili
kompleto
agad,
eh.
no?
Hindi bili agad. Diba?
Actually,
You save up.
the very first professional job I did after when I turned solo was I had to shoot heavy equipment, mga grader, backhoe, bulldozers.
Caterpillar to, no? Caterpillar.
Hindi. It was Equimac. Yung negosyo nila was to rent out the heavy equipment.
Heavy equipment.
Okay.
Yeah. And I remember the first purchase I did was I went to, after I paid off the film, the processing, yung kinita ko eksakto, I rushed to Ateneo Photo and I bought a light meter.
Kita mo?
Yeah, si light meter. Nga pala siya. Si light meter.
Ang
Pala
nakakatuwa
na.
dyan,
Yeah.
alam mo yun, yung si Sir Joe is, naalala niya yung the very first person. Kasi may kilala ko, yung very first, wag na lang pala, baka mabash
Sino na
pala ako.
naman? Alam mo, Marites na nababansa ka na nga tayo, Marites, nag-aalo ka pa. Huwag ganyan.
Like, look at me. Diba, I had the light meter. I was renting lights from Island. Then eventually I had these shoots, and then sunod-sunod na eh. Then I computed. Sabi ko, it would be cheaper just to buy the lights than keep on renting.
Okay, pero curious rin pala, Sir John, during the time na, when you were starting and you were learning photography, what are the other resource of knowledge during the time? Kasi, I need that light meter. So, you get updates, knowledge during the time. Where do you get those updates or yung mga whatever tech stuff thing na
Okay, so there was no internet back then.
I know. Billboard. Bulletin board.
Diba? There was I relied a lot on what my senior photographers would teach me or what they would impart, how they would approach a certain shoot. Kasi pwede ka naman magtanong while shooting eh.
Speaking of, sir, at the top of your head, do you still remember the senior photographers that you were working with dun sa studio na yon?
Yeah, si Mike, Cesar, Jojo, si Mang Rene, si Jess.
Nice.
Actually, one of the senior photographers above me was Francis Abraham.
Oh, all right.
What?
Yeah.
Iba yung mga naging mentor. Matitindi yung mga naging mentor or yung mga
Hindi pa nga mentor eh. Di ba sabi nga sa kanya,
hindi
parang,
pa eh.
Pero
Pero
senior.
parang bahala ka dyan. Siguro naman makakaano ka pa dyan. Hi, Harvey!
yeah, Miss Harvey Chua, just that. Wait, naman natin. Ito yung mga excited na manood sa iyo, Sir Joe Avila. Miss Harvey Chua, yeah.
Hi, Harvey. Actually, it was in Chroma that I got to meet, like si John.
John Chua.
John while I was, Chroma. I got to meet Ray Ortiz, si Bien Bautista, Zek Barroso.
The late,
Sir Bien.
yeah.
Ang bibigat, no?
Emil.
What do you, during that time, what do you love about your job?
Emil, when I was in
Okay. So during the time when you're working with those people, what do you love most about that job? That pinaka sa'yo?
It was weird. I like the technical challenge.
That explains you. Yun yung that's Joe Avila itself. Yan doon ko nakikita. Kumbaga, if I'm gonna describe you, you're more of that tech guy who's really into that.
Well, isipin mo, it's like this. Right now, thank God for digital.
Yeah.
Back then, we relied on Polaroids, right?
Yeah.
Now, we had several packages. Like, you had a package na medium format film, obviously kasama ang Polaroid. Or kung budget ng kliyente, 35mm film and medium format Polaroid. And then there was the budget na no Polaroid, 35mm film, slide pa.
Okay.
So, that's why I value the late meter. I had to work it all out in my head.
Grabe ka. Grabe.
Kasi Pipo Days, Maki, if you could remember, he's the one who is the one with the light meter discussion, yung mga yung time ng first encounter ko kila Sergio sa So actually not Pipo ang first encounter ko Sir Joe. The first encounter ko kay Joe was in the Yahoo groups, I guess. I guess that would be the Yahoo group. So talaga old school.
Roon nagsimula yung Mr. Kodaker.
Now, going there, na tama-tama kasi the next question there, yung Mr. Kodaker, how did it came about? Paano ba nangyari yan? And aside from that notorious email address, okay, papakita ko sa'yo. Meron na nagpo.
Okay. This is the kwento. Eddie Boy Escudero was encouraging me to join the Yahoo group. Diba? PH Photo. Actually, di pa yata was it PH Photo back then or anyway. So sabi ko sige, pero I don't want people to know who I am. So I'm gonna come in with a pseudonym.
Okay, Maki, diba? Romel, yan yung email address niya. Oh. Kaya niyo bang
pinakamagaling ako?
Kaya niyo bang panindigan yan?
I had to come out with an email account. Mabuti nga noon, may Hotmail na eh. Kasi when I started...
Hotmail, yeah.
Kasi prior to that, I was using EdsaMail.
Shit. Naalala ko pa EdsaMail with the CD.
Diba?
Yeah.
Robin, anong sinasabi nila?
Hindi ko alam yung EdsaMail.
Alam nyo, baduy kasi mga buhay nyo.
Yung EdsaMail parang, what's that?
What's that, man?
So I had to come up with a pseudonym. So sabi ko, let's go for something baduy. Diba? Or Kengkoy.
Actually, first impression, Kodaker yun, Mr. Kodaker.
Oo. So, then I needed an email. Diba?
Yan. Yung email ang bibigay ko na sa first impression ko sa email mo, ha. I don't know you yet. I know you as Mr. Kodaker. Tapos when I saw the email, ang yabang nito.
Yeah.
Yung ba yung, is that yung ba yung objective?
No, actually, that was not my choice of email.
What?
Suggested?
Hindi. Ano yan eh. I wanted the Kuwela email to go with the Mr. Kodaker. So, sabi ko, okay, so I'll sign up for magalingako@hotmail.com.
Taken.
Someone owned... Hindi, taken na.
Yeah.
Sabi ko, okay, so... Mas magaling ako at hotmail.com. And it was still taken. Sabi ko, okay, sige, pakapalan na mo ka. Pinakamagaling ako at hotmail.com. And hey,
sino kaya yung dalawa?
Diba? No one owned it.
Ikaw na pinakamagaling eh. Wala na ultimate eh. Ikaw na
actually, I met someone...
Sige, Sir Joe.
I met someone with an email. Mas magaling ako sa pinakamagaling.
Ang haba na nun.
Sasabihin ko sana, ang twist pala ng story na yun, yung kumuha ng magaling ako, tsaka mas magaling ako, kapatid pala ni Sir Joe, no? Ganun sila mag-isip.
So the intention, the objective of using Mr. Kodaker was to make it comic plus unknown, something like that, and play a little bit playful. Pero he didn't know that, he didn't see that people would take it seriously eventually, that it would be your brand. No, hindi mo nakita.
Actually, I was anonymous for quite a while. I remember Paulo Pineda asking...
Paulo, yeah.
Yeah, diba, sa Yahoo group, Mr. Kodaker, can you tell us something about yourself? And I was like, I like piña coladas and walking in the rain.
Hindi natawa yata sila Maki at sa Romel. Baka, it's a song. Good.
Alam ko yun, di ba?
Si Romel lang hindi yung ganyan. All right, so
Good evening.
I think probably the worst thing I ever did during those PH photo days was I was on my way to shoot a wedding. And then, before we got to the bride's hotel, we detoured to Rockwell.
Yeah.
I went to Fully Book, got the latest book of Harry Potter. Then after the wedding, I read it magdamag. Then I went to PH Photo. I posted a very engaging post about photography, ended it with Dumbledore dies.
Oh, you're just a spoiler. Yun yung ano eh. Yun yung actually that was the the part of that book or fifth, is it correct? Is it the fifth, yeah, the fifth book na everyone was clamoring talaga na what happened? Wala ka nag-spoil tapos ito bullshit, no?
He did that. Wala naman may alam sa kanya.
Alam na.
Yeah. Diba?
Alright, may curious ako. Related to sa pagiging online. I'm just curious, what was your first taste of the internet? How was it? Because I'm just curious about your geekiness. This is more of a geeky level test. Huh?
So, I had to go digital. So, I need a computer.
Yeah.
Kasi I used to go to school. I was going to school with a portable typewriter. And I would only use the computer in school siguro for like WordStar and to run
school talaga, WordStar.
And to run a program called SPSS. Yung statistical package for the social sciences. Yeah, that was the only thing I used computers for in college. WordStar and SPSS. Then, I went digital. I needed a computer. So, yung bayaw ko had a supplier. So, nagpa-assemble ako. This is like mga, I think, 19... Is it 9? Kailan lumabas yung S2 Pro? Fuji.
Hindi ko masasabi yan. Hindi ko... Romel, Google boy.
S2 Pro.
Well, anyway, nagpa-assemble ako ng Pentium 3 and it cost me 80,000 back then. Which is a significant amount.
Mahal na yun. Mahal na yun, ha?
Wala, ang sabi kasi ng bayaw ko, mahal. But if you close your eyes and just use it, sulit yung ginastos mo. And I took his advice.
Feeling ko, ikaw isa ka sa mga tambay ng data venture dati rin, no? Ikaw ba yung nagpo-post rin sa mga corkboard doon, nakasama? Mukhang tayo yun, hindi lang tayo nagkikita, pero yun yung mga tambayan dati.
So, the only problem I had with my Pentium 3 was that yung COM port ko for my external modem, diba? Diba? Kasi you prefer external para kung nag-hang, you could just reset the modem, diba? Was the same comfort I needed for my Palm 5.
Doon na. So, yan. Okay. Dapat nga pala nag-prepare ako ng mga question about yung mga gadget mo before. Kasi doon ko
my very, very first Wacom used a COM port.
Oh. Luma. Tagal na nun. Kasi COM port ang gamit mo eh. Shit.
Yung S2 Pro 2002, January 2002 siya na-release. Yan.
So around there ako nagkaroon ng computer for the first time.
Pero gusto ko yung talaga na
Pero okay, your interest into technology, the gadget, ano yan? From childhood, you have that already? Kasi until now, you carry that. I see you into gaming or yung portables, di ba? Yung mga ganyan.
Well, hindi. Gaming kasi, my generation is yung... We were the generation that lost out on the video games simply because it was banned by President Marcos.
So, alam na natin yung pagbugpila. So,
diba?
alam na natin yung hindi na iboboto because of that. Diba?
You were very lucky if you had a friend who owned an Atari.
Atari. I have that. Pero,
Atari?
ko. Atari. Yun nga,
So,
no?
actually, after, it was only in, I think, I was working na when I got a Super Nintendo Entertainment System, and SNES. Diba? So, isipin mo from
Yes.
grades, after mga middle of grade school until 3 years after college, yun yung gap na wala akong video game na nagamit.
Shit, no. What?
Okay.
I can't
Ano pala
imagine.
yun?
I can't
Naban pala yung video
Meron,
game.
Romel. Kahit even the I still remember may mga certain cartoons pa nga bawal. So maraming bawal. So, yun. Meron mga ganun.
Like ako,
yun.
when I got married, I was so happy. Ang wedding gift sa akin ng sister ko was a PlayStation 1.
Uy, PS1.
Tapos,
Diba?
hinihipan yung ano. Yung
Oy, hindi,
CD na pala.
PS1 yan. Ang family computer siya, sabi mo, Maki. Oh, hindi PS1, PlayStation 1. Family computer ba, Maki?
Okay.
Pero, okay. Nasa na ba tayo? Okay, Maki, Romel, follow up. Sige, hanap ako ng ano pa dito.
Continue.
Go.
Continue muna tayo. Continue.
Pero actually, before we continue, let's give Sergio
A breather.
A little bit of a breather para mahabol.
Maraming shoutout ka. Habol ka muna shoutout, Romel. Yeah.
Yes. Umpisa tayo.
And saka doon sa mga mga late na dumating at kapapasok. We're not talking about martial law, guys, ha. Baka iniisip nyo martial law, ha. This is not a political show. We're just bypassing. We were just talking about yung naging experience ni Sir Joel na sa games naman niya wala nga kinalaman sa mga nakulong or so baka mamaya masuguri tayo.
Ngayon ko lang nalaman na ban pala yung video games that
What was the purpose nga ba doon? Alam ko I heard about that, Joy. Ano nga ba doon?
Kasi yung problema was students, instead of going to school, were going to the video game parlors.
Oo, yun.
Yung allowance, inuubos roon.
Okay. Yung pala yung purpose. Pero at least maganda yung
Oo, kasi gusto nila
aral ka talaga doon, aral ka. Anyway, so sige, start na tayo.
Shout out, go, brother.
Natin siyempre kay Sir Donel Gumiran, magandang gabi po from Dubai. Ma'am John Ivonea, magandang gabi po. Kay siyempre kay Sir Edwin Loyola from US, magandang gabi po sa inyo. Kay Sir Erickson Matias, magandang gabi po. Kay Sir John Agner, magandang gabi rin po sa inyo. Ave Robin Ramos or Ave Robin Ramos, magandang gabi po. Siyempre kay Sir Borge Mineses, magandang gabi.
Oo nga, no?
Sir,
naging sudyate mo ba si Borge, Sir Jo?
Sa food.
Sa food.
Food photography.
Oh, kaya pala bumabad dito. Sige.
Yun. Tapos proceed tayo kay Sir Ted Claudio. What's up, PH? Magandang gabi. Andyan din si Sir Pay Palma of Hong Kong. Magandang gabi sa iyo, sir. Yan, kay Ma'am Harvey Chua, magandang gabi po. Kay Jacinth Francis Castillo, magandang gabi. And then sa lahat ng ating mga manonood ngayong araw na
and guys, you have other questions for Sir John, not pertaining to Photoshop or photography, about him. Just post it here. We'll read it out later. Okay, so before we proceed, Sir John, I just wanna do a wellness check first. Ano muna tayo? So what is your state of mind right now, brother?
My what?
State of mind.
Relax kasi nasa bahay na.
That's it. Pero 'di ba, I heard of this I've read a story and during the first wave of the lockdown, I know ikaw yung unang naging naka-experience Suki. I guess I'll let Maki ask the question because he has the right word pagdating sa medical terms. Maki, sige, take over.
Alright, so yun nga, during the wellness check, you did mention that you were among the first to have the COVID virus when it first entered here. Yeah, the first wave. So tell us your journey there. What happened, or were you able to find out where that is?
It was the lockdown. First week of the lockdown, sorry, the day before the lockdown, yung matamlay
Yeah,
na ako.
That's March 2020, di ba? Tama.
March 15 March 15 ang lockdown.
My wife was going to the grocery to, buy stuff to stock up. I couldn't even get out of the car kasi inaantok ako. Then the lockdown occurred, and for 1 week it was just diarrhea.
Oh shit. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, for 1 week. And then then finally, aside from diarrhea, I was throwing up. And my wife goes, we really, really have to bring it to the hospital. Sabi ko,
And this is Maki, I remember
okay.
Joe is within the village. So alam mo kung gaano ka-stricto sa labas during that time para makalabas yan. Natanda ang situation natin.
So I went to a nearby hospital and it was fully booked.
Yeah.
Diba? It was fully booked at the start. Then they told me, we have one room available. We just have to disinfect it, but we have a problem. Why? All our nurses are in quarantine.
Okay.
Diba?
That early? That early stage pa lang, no?
The early stage. By this time, my dad and my kuya had found out. Then they said, you hang tight, we'll do something about it. So they made a few calls and then they found me a vacant room in Quali Med in Santa Rosa, Laguna.
Layo.
Layo.
Ang layo nun
But what was I gonna do?
Yeah.
Diba? I needed to get into a hospital.
Yes.
Sabi ko, pero I told them, pero puro checkpoint. Paano yun? Like, baka, kung mahited man ako, paano uuwi yung nagatid sa akin? And they go, we've arranged for an ambulance. So yung ambulance came all the way from Santa Rosa, Laguna to Hiran Antipolo, fetched me, then brought me there.
Layo. So, grabe.
And that was when I discovered, ang tagtag pala ng ambulansya. Yung nakahiga ka sa stretcher sa likod.
I didn't know that.
And it's like, wala ba tong shock absorber?
As in para matagtag, para jeep?
Masakit mahiga. Well, kasi isipin mo, you're in a van, tapos they took off all of the rear seats. There's no weight in the back.
Ayaw ka na mag-ambulansya, Baki, hayop ka.
Baka naman po sobrang bilis
naman
talaga ng ambulansya.
Hindi, gato kasi yun. Tandaan nyo, si Sergio, hindi ko babanggitin yung pangalan nung ospital. Basta sinabi ni Sergio kung saan galing ospital. So, what did you expect?
Wow, nagsalita kasi kasi ang ganda kasi ng hospital mo, boy.
Anyway, when I got to the hospital, I was expecting the usual na you go to iti-triage ka, they get all of your details. They will be through the back entrance straight to my room.
Quarantine area. Yeah.
Then the only thing they asked us, what's your mobile number? Ito. Then when I was in the room, then I get a phone call from hospital admission. Then they got my details.
That's the situation during that time. Oh shit.
First wave.
And then,
remember, everyone was unaware of how it spread. I mean,
saka wala pang system, wala pang setup na system kung paano
gagawin. The only idea they know is that it's highly contagious. They don't know how to get it. So talagang inano siya, diretso sa isolation, quarantine. Actually, isolation yun, hindi lang quarantine yun. Isolation yun. Walang pwede lumapit sa kanya nun eh.
I was so isolated that if you needed something, it wasn't brought to you right away. They could only come at certain times of the day into the room.
Yes.
So like if I said, I'm thirsty, you waited a couple of hours before your water got in. Yung mga, I need toilet paper. You waited until it was time to bring the toilet paper.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
When I finally met my doctor, si Dr. Pasayan, Dr. Pasayan, if you're out there, thank you very much for everything. He told me na, kasi dati matagal ang testing eh.
Yes.
He told me, you have the symptoms, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna start the treatment now.
Okay.
But we're gonna test you. Sabi niya, if after 7 days dumating ang test and you are positive, at least you had the head start.
Mm-mm.
Diba?
Oh,
If it's
nasimulan na,
negative,
yeah.
well, nothing lost. So sabi ko, sige. So they did a battery of tests, and that's when they found out, they took an ECG, they took an X-ray, and that's when they found out I had pneumonia na pala.
Oh shit, umabot ka doon. All right.
Yeah, it's a complication. Yeah. It's a complication at that time.
Oo. So then they said, okay, we're gonna give you. Then before they give the medicine, they made me sign a waiver that this medicine can cause arrhythmia.
Yes, maraming side effects nun.
Oo, di ba kasi I was taking HCQ.
Mm-mm.
And you're looking at yung pwede mangyari, and you're like, I was like, well, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Gotta get through this, so sige, fine. Then
and you were alone during the time. Your wife is not with you, right?
Oh.
Kahit yung attending doctor niya, I'm pretty much sure hindi naman pumupunta dun sa actual room niya eh. Nag-ano lang yun, nag-i-instruct lang yun.
No, Dr. Pasayan would visit me. He would visit me. So, after 3 days, they ran out of the medicine. Diba? Well, kasi isipin mo, you have to take it 3 times a day, tapos ilan yung kaso natin noon, ilang libo times 3 noon, ubos yung gamot kaagad. So they switched me to a different medicine. Then total loss of appetite. Actually, I didn't like the taste of my food. And my doctor was telling me, you have to eat. Sabi ko, Doc, I don't like the taste eh.
Yes.
Sabi ko, why? Sabi ko, you should have cooked it this way. You should have done this. No, pero look at this the day after I spoke to my doctor, biglang ang sarap ng food. Like, okay, di ba? Pero it was like, I think the hardest part really was nothing to do in the room. Like, I had a tablet, I had my phone as a hotspot. There was a TV, pero no remote. And it never occurred to me in the 18 days na I was there to ask for the TV remote.
Joke. Sabi mo, pinubro yung balon. Anyway, sige, continue sa tawa na.
Anyway, I think I think the hardest part for me was of course, was the diarrhea. Then I found out na, I spoke to my doctor about it. He goes, it's a side effect of one of my medicines. Diba? Yeah. So I had it na, tapos no matter how much diet tab I took, it was still there. Then he told me, it's a side effect of one of your meds.
Oo. So meds na pala nang gagaling.
Oh, yeah. Then I took 3 tests, and wala pa yung result ng first test. They took a second test na.
Yeah.
Then wala pa yung result ng second test. They would take a third test. Finally, after about 18 days, my doctor and the nurses walked into the room. Tapos they're in PPEs pero walang face mask, walang protective eyewear, and just to tell me na, hey, you can go home. I'm like, ay, thank God. Diba? Then, I took the ambulance coming home. And then, back then, you had to take 2 weeks of quarantine.
Yes.
Diba? Isolation.
Yeah.
So, when I got home, 2 weeks in the bedroom, everything had to be brought to me by my family. Then, finally, after that, so it was 18 days in the hospital, 2 weeks of isolation at home. Then finally, when I joined my family, it was still the height of the lockdown. And I was like, there's no difference, no? In isolation and out here. Wala ka rin mapuntahan.
Dude, wala. Imagine mo kami, magkakapit bahay lang tayo 3. Tala mo, si Maki is just sa STI part. Ako na dito lang sa opening. Dude, alam mo hindi ka makalabas eh. Si Maki nga lang may access that time dahil siya lang yung masipag kumuha ng mga pass eh. As in, bad trip, dude. Alam mo yung talagang wala na. Well, the fun part there, well, may ano naman doon. Hindi na nga, it's like, baka bayan lang.
Pero yan alam ko, I would talk a lot with my parents and my brother and my wife. Diba, makakamusta. And I think, at this one point, like, there was a 7-Eleven at the ground floor of the hospital.
You went down?
Yeah. I was like,
hindi niya mapuntahan.
Well, get this. Ito yung pintuan ng kwarto ko. Ito yung parang kortina na plastic. Doon na elevator. And the moment you step out of the elevator and you step out the door, there was 7-Eleven. And I don't know why, pero my father suddenly called me up and he goes, Joe, whatever you do, I don't want you to leave your room. Sabi ko, oy. Parang
ito, personal question, dude. Did it affect you personally, mentally, yung nangyari, that experience?
Actually, they were asking questions in the hospital that I could not answer. Yung medical history. Hindi ko masagot.
Okay.
So right now, I'm like Patrick Swayze. Patrick Swayze had a movie called Roadhouse. Bouncer siya. He gets into a fight, may cut, so he ends up in a hospital. And because he's a traveling bouncer, he brings his medical records with him. So ever since that day, ever since I got out, I've kept all of my medical records with me. It's on my devices.
Okay.
Did it change your way of lifestyle now? Did you now mas naging health buff ka or what? Mas or anong mga nag-change sa'yo after that thing?
Actually, the change...
Kasi before that, alam ko, you were already, kind of fit. Kasi nakikita kita, dumuti ka na nga, di ba, nagpapayat ka na, you were active, pero to the point...
Well, I was grateful na when I got COVID, I had already quit smoking.
Yeah.
I was
di ba? Ang saya natin manigarilyo dalawa, di ba? Parang, the smoking buddy ko si Joe, pare. Pag photo World Cup, alam mo saan mo makikita kami? Makikita mo kami, tatlo kami. Siya, ako, saka si Edwin Martinez. Yan, makikita mo. Yan yung nando kami sa labas.
Hindi, you wouldn't, I wouldn't have survived the hospital stay if I was still smoking. So it was good na...
Good for you, di ba? Yun. So, pero yun it's funny that people, pero it's funny how people was not taking it seriously before the COVID. Akala nila it was ganyan-ganyan lang until it would really hit.
Parang tayo rin yung sinasabihan mo nung hindi natin
kasi I was paranoid already. Sabi ko sa'yo, I was paranoid. Kasi si Joe is one of the parang, sabi ko nga sa'yo, Maki, it's weird. The COVID became real when you see someone na meron eh. And Joe was one of nandun sa wall ko na I know, kapitbahay pa natin na nandito, who got it. Sabi ko, oh shit, this is serious. Then, things happen na. Yan nga, may mga...
Pero, remember, nung di ba pinag-usapan natin yan, Sir Joe, pinag-usapan namin yan na, actually, di ba sa Wuhan nga, the theory was November coming December pa lang meron na eh. Kaya lang hindi nga
nandun nga tayo kasi yung during the time na nasimula niyan, John.
Just one of those flu things. Tapos, January, nasa Taiwan kami.
Kami tatlo, nasa Taiwan.
And it was already pumuputok-putok
na. Yun ang ina-announce na nila.
Ang pinakamakulit pa doon, Maki.
Ito maganda doon, si Romel, ubo-ubo si Paul. Kasi may siya, allergy that time. Saka hindi tayo makauwi. Sinabayan pa tayo ng bulkan, di ba?
Ang raming ano na kami noon. Binanggit ko na kay Parker, sabi ko, yung sa nangyayari sa sa Wuhan. Kasi within the medical field, kasi meron na talagang meron ng great chatter about it na it's highly unusual that alam mo yon yung okay, there's yung seasonal flu mo which happens during the rainy season. And then you were coming in from the holiday season ng December. Pero there were initial photos showing na medical personnel na naka full PPE carrying out patients. Hindi pa nga sinasabi kung it's a dead person or talagang sick na, basta carrying out patient in their full PPE. the medical field was already having a great chatter about it. Pero
Oo.
the rest of the world was parang, China, a small
Sino ba naman kasi
small
nag-e-expect
city.
Wala
na akin
nga.
ng
Sabi
ganyan?
ko-
Wala naman talagang nag-e-expect eh. Talagang
I guess Joe didn't even knew na makukuha niya yun. Kasi
Oo
did you learn kung saan mo nakuha? So out, di ba?
No, up to today, I do not know where I got it.
Di
That's,
ba?
thank you na
Kasi,
lang tayo kung sino ba.
no,
Yeah.
no, think of it this way. If I knew where I would have gotten it, do you think I would have gone there?
Hindi
Oo
rin
nga
eh.
naman,
Knowing you,
hindi.
di ba? Oo eh.
Oh. Actually, yung problema ko noon, I think one of the problems before was wala akong face mask.
Okay.
No, kasi
At
ano yan eh, yung problema before was, prior kasi to the lockdown, Taal had erupted.
Yep.
So we
yun nga.
had ash here in Manila. So naubos na yung mga face masks, 'di ba?
Oh.
People were wearing face masks to filter out the volcanic ash.
Dapat nagpabili
by the
ka sa
time-
amin. Rami namin dala nung sa Taiwan nun eh.
So by the time COVID rolls around and you were being encouraged, 'di ba? People were telling us before the lockdown, protect yourself, wear a face mask. Wala akong mabili.
Grabe no. Joe, no, doon mo ma-feel na talagang pilay na pilay tayo. Wala rin magagawa yung pera or mga contact mo during that the
Wala.
hard lockdown. The hard lockdown. O kakaiba yan.
napakatindi nun kasi pati face mask, alcohol, wala kang mabili sa labas.
Ay,
Wala
hindi.
ka talaga
Sabi ni
mabili.
Joe, una pa yan. The first phase, ang problema dito, water. Yung drinking water, yung mga purified water, yung mga ganyan. Tagkakulangan pa yan dito. Tapos,
Actually, yung problema natin back then, I remember pagkalabas mo Ortigas Gate, and you
Nandun
turn
na
right, checkpoint na
nandun na eh. Kung pag kumaliwa kami, isa pa doon, di ba? Sa bandang, Kaya ka, buti na lang, I survived COVID, the hard lockdown because of Maki. Masipag lang yung, masipag na tao lang lalo. Siya tumatawid eh. Tapos kung
ako naman, when I was fetched by the ambulance, and we didn't tell any of our neighbors muna what happened. Not until we got yung result na yes, I
The
am
result,
positive.
yeah.
Kasi ayaw mo mag-false alarm eh. But
Yeah.
my neighbors saw me being fetched by an ambulance, and they had an inkling, but the euphemism was natisod raw ako.
Natisod pa yun.
Yeah, I don't know how
Alam
that
mo
rumor
tao,
started.
natisod ka na.
Oo.
Hindi kasi
Kaya, of
Joe
course,
is active eh.
Look,
Active. Yeah.
They saw me walking towards an ambulance at natisod raw ako. I don't know how that rumor started. So, anyway,
Maganda yung marites na yun ah.
so we did the responsible thing. My family informed the Owners Association that yes,
Yeah.
we have a family member who is positive. And then
Buti
my
ka
family went into isolation. Hindi lumabas ng bahay. And that's when the community really helped my family na they would bring groceries and food to my family.
You see,
Good.
buti
Ang
ka
ganda.
pa kasi you were
Nice
responsible
neighbors.
enough to inform. Madami akong kilala hindi nag-inform.
Bakit? Tapos na, move on.
Nag-party pa.
Bayaan mo na, Maki. Bayaan mo na. Tapos
Kain ka na lang ng kamaron rebosado para happy ka. Anyway, Joe. Anyway, so let's continue. Okay, so that's grabe yung pinagdaanan mo, and we're happy that you survive it. I'm sure you're also happy, and it's a experience that you don't want to happen to you again or anyone else. I mean, pero Joe, question
Sige lang pala.
Yeah, go. Sige.
The subsequent variants, I would assume hindi ka na not even a hint, wala na. From the subsequent
Wala na. Actually,
variants, wala na.
ano siya eh.
He's immune for...
No. Actually, that was my disappointment eh. I spoke to my doctor at Dr. Pasayan at Qualimed, and he was explaining to me yung course of treatment, what did done, and I asked him, so Doc, after this, I'm good? Di na ako mahahawa? Oh, no, of course not. Pwede ko pa rin mahawa. I'm like, what am I going through this for? Wala pa yung antibodies.
Oh,
Diba? And remember, since yung first wave to, there wasn't even chatter about a vaccine.
Pero
it
you're
was the latter part
physically, you're back to normal, walang nagbago sa'yo, weakness or okay.
Yeah. No, the part, ko na, i-correct ko yung...
Yeah, kasi si we were talking, Maki and I were talking about that.
Your doctor mentioned that there was post-COVID syndrome that may appear.
So meron.
So,
meron.
What was yours?
What's it now? My heart.
Your heart.
Okay. So nagkaroon na ng arrhythmia. Meron ka na permanent. Hindi pa, I mean not permanent but kumbaga yung from your normal
well, I'm
ECG
hypertensive.
readings. Okay.
Then of course pinagbawalan ako. I think my first month or so I could not bike.
Yes. Because yung physical activity has been restricted so much by that virus. Okay. Get. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Actually, I had a scare nga after I think okay. So I finally got out of the hospital around April, and then around July I found myself back in the ER.
Because you were
Well, siya? I was having chest pains. And then they prescribed the medicine. Then a week after that, I was back in the ER because I was exhibiting COVID symptoms again.
Shit. Ang hirap rin pala ng pinagdaanan mo.
Well, hindi. Turned out pala, I was having an allergic reaction to one of the meds.
Meds again, yeah.
Oo. And then I was misdiagnosed. They thought it was a heart attack. It was just GERD.
GERD. Okay. Hindi lang ikaw na experience. Marami tayong mga kapanalig dyan sa GERD.
Yeah, pero I was so, pero yung nga at least when I went to the ER, dala ko na yung medical records ko.
Yeah.
May tatanong yung doktor.
Yeah.
Diba?
Ito na.
Ito na naman bumalik na naman yung paranoia ko na naman lumabas pabira. It didn't help me.
No, actually, I remember nung when I got my vaccination. They were you had that yung parang screening, all of that. They were asking
did you ever had that?
Yeah. No, what's your medical history? I would open my tablet, bring out the documents. Ito ho.
Yeah.
Kamusta ang BP mo? Ito ho, may BP. Kasi I measure it every morning na They would ask, what medicines do you take? Ito ho yung reseta.
Yes.
Grabe, no? Yung mga hindi ko na-imagine na ganun yung pinagdaan. Kasi, syempre, the only thing you read is I've read is yung, of course, the posted in mga interview, and that's it. Now, to hear na ito yung talagang, actually, tragic yan, yung matagtag na ambulansya, parang ayaw ko talagang ma-ambulance because of that. Nakahiga. Saka ilang oras sa biyahe, di ba? Walang traffic naman during that time.
Walang oras yun.
Walang traffic.
Walang traffic yun. Yun yung pros nga during that time.
I remember nakahiga ako sa likod ng ambulansya, and I was asking yung driver ng ambulansya, "Sir, saan ka dadaan?" EDSA, Ortigas, kaliwa sa EDSA. "Sir, wag na. Pagkarating sa TNC dito, flyover, kaliwa ka na, dire-diretso na yon. C5 tayo, labas natin, SLEX na."
Para mapadali. Hindi, ang hirap ng buhay niya. Siya tinatagtag Ikaw ba naman? Anyway, Sergio, babalik na tayo. So that's just more part of I just want to know what really happened to you. Any great artist first learn from people who was your influence and naging takeaway mo during time, but not the photography side, but the teaching side. Kasi
okay.
You were the way you're one of the people kaya ikaw rin paboritong kunin ng mga people to speak, to be a speaker. Why you talk good, you explain things great, easy. You could capture the attention of your audience. So who was the influence in the style of teaching and it?
With all this is the truth. I attribute it all to Ateneo.
Blue Eagles.
Galing.
Blue Eagles. Yan.
Well, no. Look at it this way. Basically, let's say grade school. You had
Yes,
you aside from your recitation, you had classes on solo speaking,
Confidence
choral
talaga, yeah.
recitation, all of that. Taon-taon yun. Taon-taon hanggang high school.
So that was your training. Kasi talagang hard. It's true. Kasi nga kung doon lang hard, straight from grade school to high school doon ka, talagang that explains why you are really a good speaker.
We had classes on first year high school. We had classes on extemporaneous speaking. I think even until senior high school, fourth year, I had that. English class was tackling extemporaneous speaking.
Okay, so that explains that. Kasi bihira ka makakita. So normally you see people teach, pero your style of teaching is iba. It's not just someone who's just reading a manual and babasa niya sa tao. You definitely know that person knows what he's talking about kasi ginagamit niya o hindi. So yun yung style mo eh. So that's the thing that I'm really, bakit tuwan-tuwa ako sa'yo pag nakikinig ako sa'yo. Lalo na whenever we drink or even have coffee.
I remember, di ba isang beses sa The Gate, we were doing Photoshop while drunk?
Kaya nga, sa ka ba makakita? True ka, Romel.
Dante. And he won.
Si Dante, yeah, oo.
Saka we were photoshopping drunk for Dante, and that photo that we photoshopped drunk won a photo contest.
Inuman yun. Kasi sabi ko nga, si Joe, hindi siya yung typical na makakainuman mo or makakape mo na you end up na chismis lang. Uy, ano yung balita doon? Nag-aaway? Hindi. It's all about knowledge, technology. Now, tingnan mo, yung last time, I think, the very last time I saw, we were even talking about the new technology of Dell. Tapos the press con of Dell, what's good about Dell. During the time, yun yung time na nag-usap pa tayo about I get to know what's new pagdating sa kanya, lalo sa Photoshop. I don't, pagkatabi ko siya, si Joe, I would never consider myself good sa Photoshop. I would never, hindi ko ihagat ba ko. Kasi I know alam ko level yan. Ako kasi I'm just a user of Photoshop. Sa kanya, he knows the in and outs. Dude, Romel, pag sinabi ko in and outs, there are tools.
At balibalik rin natin ng Photoshop.
I know the tools, pero he has the tools, and the tools are, mayroon pang mga may alleyway, may back, baka meron ganun yan.
I also learn naman from bouncing ideas of other people or what other people tell me. Like, I was talking to Andre Hoffman. He dropped by.
Hoffman,
me,
yeah.
Joe, I have this problem. So what do you think of this solution? Should if I just duplicate the layer, invert it, then lower the opacity? Sabi ko, no, ako per mali. I think you should duplicate the layer, invert it, change your blend mode to difference, then adjust fill, not opacity.
Oh, iba. Diba? Mel, kaya ka, iba. Okay, Joe, were you self-aware that you have the talent in teaching? When or do you know that? So when was the time that you learned?
Ang nangyari was, I was still working at Chroma. Then si Pancho was teaching an Assumption College.
Okay.
Yeah, then Pancho had to go on a trip, so mababakante for one session yung class niya. And then he was wondering who could do the class, and I said, I want to try it. Diba? Just for the experience.
Ang pogi.
Volunteer, no?
And I tried teaching the way Pancho would teach, and then I discovered that was not my way of teaching. Pero Maki, nagturo ko sa Assumption afterwards for 3 years. By the time I finished, I had the full load.
Wow. See?
Actually,
so what would you call what would be your style of teaching if you're gonna describe it, or the Joe Avila way of teaching? How would you explain that?
Of course, sabi ng mga tao, mayabang ako. Ano ba ba?
Mayabang or you're just
I like to
straightforward?
swear.
Straightforward is different from mayabang. I know you're straightforward. Iba.
Actually,
Hindi, pero
the
sinabi
straightforward
ni
part
Sergio kanina,
kasi,
di ba? Na, go, Sergio.
no, kasi, look, this thing, I'm very blunt when people ask me to critique their photos.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Okay.
Oh, no, kasi this is what happened. I was visiting my relatives in the East Coast. I was in DC, and I found this gallery near the Smithsonian Mall. And there was a photo exhibit. It was a documentary work, black and white, of yung mga cotton pickers in the southern states. And I was looking at the photos, and they were like, parang underexposed, tapos out of focus at may camera shake. That was for me. Pero sabi ko, hindi naman siguro emperor's clothes, new clothes to. Pero may ganda to kasi it's in a gallery. Right? Sabi ko, there must be something na my eyes cannot see kasi ano pa rin yan eh. It was still my first year of it was still within my wala pa akong 1 year sa Chroma. Diba? So like, what do I know? Diba? So, after vacation, I come back home to Manila. Then the following month, dumating yung magazine subscription ko to American Photographer magazine. Every issue, they would review a photo exhibit. Tapos nakita ko sa cover, may review ng exhibit na nakita ko sa DC. Like, I was so excited. Finally, I would read the review about a photo exhibit that I had seen with my own eyes.
Then you saw it.
Yeah. So hanap ka agad, table of contents, forward, lead paragraph pa lang nung art ng review. The photos were underexposed, had camera shake, and were out of focus.
Shucks.
Pareho.
Like, that's what I said. Diba? And I was like, diba? That was what I said. So, sabi ko, then I realized, why should what I think about a photo depend on other people? I do not need someone else to validate my taste. Diba? I can think for
ganda
myself.
Yun, Bakit?
So, I don't need Romel to validate my taste.
Yeah, Romel,
Wow.
Romel, alam ko. Sige, pasok ka dyan. Sige, I know you, pwede ka magdagdag ng question dyan.
Well, kasi, Romel, okay, ganito to. People kasi assume that because you were a professional photographer, all your photos are great. Diba? For me, that's a fallacy. Like, diba, like, for a wedding, you take how many photos, pero ilan lang ang gagamitin sa album.
Yes.
Hindi. Kay
Diba,
Romel po,
I do
hindi.
an
Pag si
answer.
Romel, money shot.
Grabe ka naman, pare.
Pero sige. While we're still on that
May kilala
topic.
akong ganoon. May
Okay.
kilala akong ganoon, Maki, pero money shot lahat. No, seriously, I met a photographer.
Money shot
just
lahat.
like that.
Okay, Joe, I know how vocal you could be as when you encounter sa forum, when I encounter you sa forum, lalo na if someone asks for your opinion about the photo. Okay, so what's your take on freedom of speech nowadays? Kasi yun yung ginagamit naman ng iba eh. Okay, iba yung someone would criticize because, okay, he's credible because of his experience. Yes, I would listen to you. But most of the time, you have the memas. You have the people who just something to say because if you, pag sinabi mo, it's because freedom of speech. They have the right to say anything they want. So what's your take lang about freedom of speech nowadays?
Well, you have the right to speak. You have the right to listen or to ignore. I don't see what's the problem.
Oh, different approach.
May linya na tayo pwede gamitin. Kay credible yung critic, kay Mema, I don't need anyone to validate my taste.
Yes, of course.
That would be our new.
Yan ang palusot. Kasi
Ayun.
for me, that was such an epiphany na, why was I so insecure about what I thought? Diba?
Oh, di ba?
Yung,
naman.
diba? Hindi porket it's in a gallery near the Smithsonian, it's great.
No.
Nilagay pa nga sa isang subscription
Diba?
magazine eh, di ba? For the same opinion para lumabas
Actually,
sa isang subscription
I
magazine.
think that was my moment na I learned to say pangit pag detrato.
Ah.
And now, yeah, I can say it freely. Pangit.
Kasi you're Joe Avila. Dude, kasi you're Joe Avila.
Yes, of course. Opo.
Put it this way, Romel went to a gallery at sabihin niya pangit. What would happen to Romel?
Yun.
Oh, di ba? You're Joe Avila. Pero, di ba? So, it plays a big role rin, di ba?
Simple lang naman to eh. Pangit. Pag nagalis yung photographer, well, I'm not buying it. That tells you something.
Oy, may bago na rin itong linya.
Huwag niyo isama sa... Alam niyo, pag mamimili kayo ng photo, huwag niyo isama sa Jowa, papaaway kayo.
No, kasi look at this way. I was talking to someone and he said, so and so, I don't like yung photos niya. Okay. Ikaw, what do you think? Sabi ko, well, I'm biased. Ako nagprint eh. Pero I'll tell you this, kumita siya. Sabi ko, sold out.
Pero Sergio, may follow pala ako. Sir, importante ba talaga na merong parang before you criticize yung isang litrato, parang may backup ka muna na works mo. Parang ganon.
No.
That's it, ano?
No.
Oy, iba yan. Sige.
Look at it this way. You like, for example, Zone 5 or Zone 5, when they have their monthly photo contests, the three judges, ang makeup always is someone from industry, let's say from ad, diba? Then you might have, say, a professional photographer, and then they have someone
who's really walang
alam sa photography. Oh, diba? So you're telling me na yung tao na yon, no, hindi photographer, hindi valid ang kanyang comments about the photos.
Makes sense.
Oo nga. Oo naman. Meron pa rin. Kumbaga, may karapatan pa rin naman. May say pa rin siya. Kumbaga, he has an interpretation of the...
You are not refuting scientific data. Diba? We are not in a medical conference and I'm showing you results.
Okay, opo.
And you're saying, hindi,
tama.
mali yan. Ito yung data ko eh. Hindi nagamas siya sinasabi mo. Hindi yung ganoon eh. Diba?
Yes, opo.
You like it, you don't.
Joe, dapat tinuloy mo pagiging lawyer mo. Dapat nag-lawyer ka. Rami mo.
Pare, I did the next best thing. I married a lawyer.
Oh, I know that. Si Madam nga pala, lawyer. Nga pala, to those who doesn't know, Mrs. Avila is a lawyer pala, nga pala. Alright. Okay, balik rin natin, Joe. How do you handle a critic naman? As the receiving party, what's the proper way to receive, to handle a critic?
Well, wala namang, I think naman, walang pro photographer na balat sibuyas eh. Kasi it goes back to what I was saying kanina. Someone tells me, shoot food. And I take 5 shots. And they tell me, Joe, mali ang gulo. So yun lang shot ko, pangit. Move on. Diba?
Okay. Natutuwa si Maki sa'yo. Naglalaro na naman utak ni Maki. Tumatahimik nagkokontrol na sa sabihin eh.
Yeah. You say it's ugly. Why? Ako, when I do with the client, why? Like for example, I always tell this story. A client made us shoot cookies. Naka-stack parang domino style. Diba? 4 rows, tight shot. Diba? We followed yung pinag-usapan during pre-pod and I show it to my client. Diba? Pinag-usapan, ito yung camera angle, ito arrangement ng cookie, rito ilaw. Show it to the client. And the client goes, I don't like the photo. Bakit? Kulang ng edge definition.
Okay.
Look, ako yung stand ko palagi is, the client does not need to know photography. The client just needs to know what they want. Diba?
Nice.
Kasi if they knew photography...
Maganda tip yan, Maki. Romel, applicable sa inyo yan, ha? Applicable yun, ha?
So, I asked the client, so you want the edge of the... Kasi yung cookies same color, magkakapatong-patong. So sabi ko, you want the edge of the cookies to have a darker edge? No. I want edge definition. Sabi ko, talaga nag-isip ako, sabi ko. So I told my food stylist, Pixie Sevilla, sabi ko, Pixie, can you get tissue paper, roll it into ball, tapos put it in between each cookie para umangat. Umangat, di ba? Para hindi nakalapat. Umangat ng konti. Then we shot it. I showed it to the client. And the client goes, yan, may edge definition.
Yung pala eh. Iba lang ng terms siya. Kasi syempre, hindi nga siya technical.
Hindi naman siya photographer
They don't need to know photography.
Kasi,
they just need to know what
kasi you're just gonna make it more complicating, kumbaga. Anyway, Joe, the culture of criticism, has it been better or worse because social media?
Worse. Kasi, ano siya eh. Well, worse in a sense na nawala yung gray area. I think you've noticed na on the web, people are either for or against. There's no in between. Diba? So nawala yung, hey, let's talk about it. Some discussions. They're just
That's actually dyan babaksak ngayon yung the difference between the forums before and now the forums. I love the discussion, the debate, the different type of opinions on a certain thing, kasi they could write a long essay or even a short one. I miss that.
I remember the debates before about digital. Oo, di ba? Yung people
yung ano, kasi nga starting on kasi nga it's a mixed bunch eh. We have the purists and you have the new break, kasi digital was still new that time eh. Ang tanda na, di ba? Yung start, the forum was the one, was the platform for everyone to talk about. So meron akong dito. Was technology a big part of the transition or parang change for your style of teaching or even your work? Malaki bang the technology? Did it play a big role sa'yo?
Yes, of course. Well, kasi I remember, kasi when I went digital, I really invested heavily. Mahal yung gear nun eh.
Yeah.
I remember so I had to sell, I sold 2 film bodies. I had to sell my medium format system.
Medium format? You have a medium? Wow. Okay.
No, I had 2 Mamiya bodies, and I had a TLR, a Mamiya TLR with interchangeable lenses.
Okay.
And I had a Pentax 6x7, yung parang malaking SLR na naka-steroids. I sold all of that.
For one? Just for one digital?
What was the first digital na mo?
Actually, Fuji S2 Pro.
Fuji S2 Pro. Yan yung
sorry. Hindi. The Fuji S2 Pro, hindi pa masakit sa bulsa. Ang masakit sa bulsa was I shifted to Canon.
O kasi paparam.
I had to give all of my lenses.
Hindi. Honestly, kasi ang mahal talaga. Mahal talaga kasi during that time. Hindi. Nowadays, it's really affordable eh. Kumpara sa dati, yung it was still parang pinupush pa ng market yung digital kahit na bababa pa naman.
When I shifted kasi to Fuji S2 Pro, it was nice kasi the Fuji used a Nikon body. Diba?
Yeah.
It's a Nikon film body. We just put digital components. So all of my Nikon lenses worked. So okay pa yun. Natuwa ako kasi yung software na binibili pa abroad as an extra, Fuji included it for free. So I could shoot tethered.
Okay.
Bumili pa ako ng PCI card na Firewire.
Yung firewire, alam mo.
That's one thing I love about Joe, the accessories, the science, the trial and error, mga ano niya, marami yan eh. May mga test ba yung mga tethered before. Sa kanya ko lang nakita kasi whenever he was doing class, he was demonstrating that, yung mag-shoot and do that. So ang rami ka matututunan nga dyan eh. Kaya nga ang tingin ko niya napaka-updated sa gearhead nga eh. Kaya nga sabi ko, the way I'm gonna describe Joe would be a cross between Jay Tablante and Ador Pamintuan joined together, that you have a geek and you have a lecturer na ganun.
Pero when I shifted to Canon, that was, you had to sell I still had my film gear eh. So I had to sell 2 film bodies, the S2 Pro, all 8 lenses, all the Nikon speed lights. I had to sell my Mamiya, all of that. Actually, kasalanan to ni Vinci Sanchez, kaya ako nagtanong.
Nagkasisiyan pa.
No. What happened was, I was okay with the Fuji S2 Pro. The only thing I didn't like about it was the autofocus. Nagkakantang konti pag low
Sige
light.
nga, tanong ko nga kita, how do you find the new Fuji system right now? Have you tested? Have you tried?
No.
Hindi pa, no?
Ask me about printers now.
Printers?
Yeah.
What's good? O nga pala, no?
Actually, before, di ba, mahal ang CF card. Si
sobra.
Jerry Cheng nagpasok ng Redata. Nagpasok siya ng
Redata.
CF card.
Yeah.
Sabi niya, you would pick it up and pay for it at a Canon event, which turned out to be the product launch of attendee sa Discovery. Nagkataon, that night nung pick up, my wife had a girls' night out in Podium. So, brought my wife to Podium, walked across to Discovery. Tapos, si Jerry nandoon, no, with I think a clutch bag or something, just pulling out the CF card to give him money. Then I saw Vinci Sanchez with a 10D and a 7200. Yeah. And then Vinci was like, well, what are you doing here? Just buying a CF. Then he was holding the 10D. How's that camera? You wanna try it? Okay, sure.
You were not carrying any brand yet dati, no? Hindi pa. During that time, wala pa.
Wala pa. But sabi ko, I had the CF card, di ba? Kabibili yung kalaga Jerry. So, di ba? Lagay sa 10D. Tapos then the mini fashion show, there were models walking up and down the ramp. Tapos yung ilaw lang, yung parang yung par 64 na flood lamps. Di ba? Nag-shoot ako. Tapos when I got home, I looked at the shots on my computer and like, that's a...
Ganda nito.
May potential
okay,
to.
Diba? Yung,
How many megapixels is that? You still remember? 10. See? Diba?
10 ba less? I think 10.
Baka 10 naman siguro kasi the A95 is somewhere between the 8 or 6, so that would be probably higher than that.
Yeah. So I told my wife, we will shift to Canon. Mas madali ang buhay ko dito.
Wait, excitement na yun.
No. Okay. Now, this is where it gets bad. I told my wife, I want to buy N lenses.
Oh shit, the red ring. Pucha, the red ring.
Sabi niya, what's that?
Nako, ang hirap. Paano mo i-justify?
No. Look, I had, my justification ko was, I'm shifting systems. Gusto ko, when I shift,
you get the best of the best. Yeah.
Wala akong panghihinayang na pangit ang image quality dahil pangit yung lente.
Okay, opo.
Diba? So, if you're gonna shift, buy na rin the professional lenses. So, that's when I got rid of everything. When I was selling everything, I advertised it in PH Photo. Then I spent an afternoon at Starbucks sa drive-in ng Podium noon. Backpack ako I had backpacks and bags of gear. Someone would come up to me, they would ask me, ikaw ba si Mr. Kodaker? Sino ka? They would give their name. Ito yung lens mo. They'd give me the money, aalis sila. Ganun ako bumaghapon. Akala mo parang drug buy.
Alright. So, yung adventure so, diba? Ang rami na. Any follow-up, Romel?
So far, wala.
Nahaliw kayo sa kwento. Sabi ko sa inyo, hindi nyo mabubusan yan eh.
Lalo doon sa shifting kasi talagang, kung mag-shift ka
kasi
talaga.
Kasi you're planning to shift, right? Romel, di ba? So, yan, that's a good, So, once you shift, might as well just sell everything and get the best best of yung yung system ko. Kasi, ganun rin eh. Mapapamahal ka pa rin eh. Kunyari, magtipid ka eh. Mangangati ka rin naman eventually eh.
Diba? I just didn't want to think at the back of my head na, is this sharp? Kasi pangit yung lente sensor, yung camera, or pangit ang lente?
Alright. So, nandito tayo sa topic ng, yan, you're too particular to that. Now, Jo, details. What's your opinion about it? Are you very particular about the details in your shoots or even in your post-processing?
Well, siya,
I'm trying to figure out gaano kang ka-OC ngayon eh.
If I can do it during the shoot, I will. Kasi mas madali ang buhay ko sa post eh.
True.
Pero ako, it's the habit I picked up. When I post-process, it's for the print.
Iba pa. Iba
Diba?
pa yung level ng pag-meticuloso sa print. Kasi you really... yeah.
No, kasi na, if it was just for the web, never mind color management. Diba?
So, curious ako, okay, you do printing. What if may nagpa-print and you really find something wrong with it and wala namang order ng adjustment? Do you intervene? What? You put your own opinion and you would tell the...
Oo. Actually, well, isang beses, someone showed up, sent me a file, and may magenta cast, and I had to call up the photographer. Diba? And sadya, okay, fine. Diba? Or like, we had this one client. He's a regular client. Well, he became a regular client. He went out on a shooting trip. Pagkabalik niya, he had 200 to 300 photos. And yung style namin was we would choose, then sa kanya piprint. Diba? Yung mag-shortlist kami. So we go through those 200 or 300 photos and I just had to tell him, pare, pangit lahat.
Ooh.
And hindi niya matanggap. Are you sure? Baka pwede to. Hindi, pare, autofocus. What about this? Camera shake? Eto, back focus. Nothing good could be said about all those photos. And he was like, he was so crestfallen kasi it was one trip wasted. And I just had to tell him, if it were just about the money, I'd print all of this. But hindi eh. You're my friend. I'm telling you, it's ugly.
Ang ganda yun. Kasi makinig kayo sa mga kaibigan nyo pag may sinasabi.
Oo.
Diba, Maki? Tama, diba?
It's not about the friendship, but you're my friend. You're ugly.
parang pareho lang yun.
What the fuck?
Para lang ba yun? Sorry naman. Nahanap ko lang ng ano.
It's funny now in printing. There's a huge difference in the way photographers with mirrorless and DSLRs print their photos versus those who use mobile devices. But kasi like, I have photographers with DSLRs and mirrorless that come up to me, tataas na megapixel count nyo, and they'll print, let's say, mga 8x12, 11x14, pero maramihan. Yung nag-shoot with the phone will come up to me, isa lang ang papaprint, pero tanong palagi, how big can I print this? Diba? They don't want small photos kasi malaki na yung screen.
No, they want big.
Yeah. So I think the biggest we've done to date is from an iPhone 5, 40x40 inch.
Oh, that's big. That's big.
Yeah. Then someone shot with another iPhone. We upsized it and it became like I think a 14x50 something panoramic.
Kaya nga ng phone yun.
Kaya na.
Well, actually, yung misconception ng mga tao is hindi ba nag-pixelize? And we tell people, hindi problema ng mobile devices ang pixelized photos eh. Yung problema nyo really is file compression and ikaw, the photographer. Kasi
which is yun yung mas malaking problema, ikaw.
Well, hindi. Kasi like, a lot of people who shoot on mobile devices will edit their photos using an app. Diba?
Yeah.
Para mapaganda.
Yeah.
And what happens is these apps will really compress the file and make it small.
Yeah, eventually degraded. Yeah.
Oh. So, Kako, when you give me that edited file, it's too small to print as big as possible. So we always tell them, akin na yung file na hindi mo inedit sa phone, tapos show me yung ginawa mo sa phone, habulin natin sa Photoshop.
Ang sarap, you guys, if you haven't seen or heard him teach or work on Photoshop, sometimes nga pag may kapihan lang, tapos let him do his magic, you'll just be mesmerized. Honestly, talaga. Imagine mo, I'm the one, masaya yung mga ganung session kasi you get to learn eh. Ayan, yun, may question about talaga sa sige na, pagbibigyan ko kaya kahit profiling to, ginawa yung boring Mondays to. Okay. Recommended cheapest printer for an 8x10 printing.
Actually, I would like to recommend yung mga those printers na where you pour the ink.
Yung refillable? Yung mga refillable
pero
type?
yung problema ko lang is I tried one from one brand. Their inks, their paper, and after a month, nag-fade na yung photo.
Hindi tatagal. Okay.
Well, yeah, you can get those printers. They're cheap, but they use dye inks.
So yun yung draw, ayun yung cons pala ng having doon. Yeah. Okay. Longevity yung yung lifespan ng mismong image itself pagka after.
If you just want a cheap printer, yung mga bottomless na from Epson, Canon, Brother, those will work. Pero I'm not gonna guarantee that the photos will last.
Give or take, how long?
Yung na-test ko isang buwan, kupas na.
Ang bilis nun. Kumupas na yung pag-ibig niyong na. Okay. Tayo, iba naman to, more on the drama side tayo na. What was your greatest challenge through the years in this field?
What was it?
We were talking about that.
Dealing with people.
Dealing with people. Personalities? Something like that? Yung mga different type of personality. Or getting the real color of someone. Parang ganyan ba?
No. It was like each time you... at one point, if you're a professional photographer, actually, regardless of your profession, if you're selling a service, you have to think like a multi-level marketer. Everyone you meet is a prospect. Diba? And at what point that gets very tiring. Again, it goes back to what my teacher said. Bottom line is the bottom line. Every month, may babayaran ka.
Okay.
So, thank you, Sir John.
Other challenges, well, of course, yung ibang
earlier we were talking about work and family. Diba? Earlier we were ganda yun actually. It's really a deciding factor whether parang hindi lahat kaya gawin yung ginawa mo before to parang just to ganda yan, Maki. I think you guys weren't here yet yung we were talking about his decision and parang hindi naman siya retired, more nag-mellow down lang on the teaching side, but parang ganun tayo. Yung ba term natin kanina?
Kasi remember sa Ateneo, I would teach during the summer. On my 13th summer of teaching, I got that little loyalty pin from Ateneo for 6 years of teaching. Kasi nga, summer lang so it's half a year. And I realized that was 13 summers of not spending it with my family out of town. Kasi naubos sa pagtuturo. Then, when I was teaching in the studio, well, I got too successful. You would teach 4 Saturdays out of every month, 2 Sundays out of every month, and then Tuesday, Thursday of every month. So, what happens to the time for the family?
Diba, it's not about puro kita lang, nawala yung time sa family.
Well, hindi, kasi then there were those commitments with Canon.
Which is more.
I think there was this one time na it was Canon did a tally sheet of yung pinakamaraming number of appearances.
Rendered, rendered, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, I was number 1.
No.
And that was just for camera. Wala pa yung bilang for the printer side.
Oh shit. Grabe yun. Pagsipag mo nun.
Sulit na sulit. I did
like, I think for the, back, ano ba bilang ka noon? I did 20-something appearances just for the camera.
Wow.
I think,
Dami.
then, I think about
That's kasi,
12.
for those who doesn't know, it's
12
part
for
of
the
the
printer.
kasi you have to part of the contract is you render certain they call you to speak or maging speaker for that. Yan yung part ng deal na rin. So si Joe for sure, si Joe ang pinakamasipag sa kanila. So that thing that really when was the decide, when do you decide na sabi ko mukhang low profile muna ako, sige I'll spend more time with the family? When was that?
Well, honestly, teaching had gone down, and then that conversation with the wife, diba, yung the story is there was this online certification training that I wanted to take, diba? And I convinced Canon to pay for it, and I took it. It was a online training for color management.
Yeah.
Kasi everything I had known about color management, I studied on my own.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. I had, diba? So this was the first time I was gonna actually take a class about it, and then when I took it, finished it. There was an online test and I passed it. And then I was happy. Then my wife asked, "Oh, how will you monetize that?" Ako, nga, no?
Paano mo sasagutin yun?
How
would you
monitor management?
Yeah, then sometime after that, Canon had an event in Lasal. I think it was like a university leg of the photo marathon. And we all ended up in a bar somewhere in the area. And I remember I was seated here. Across from me was si Ernest from Canon. In between us was Double Black. And, we were just drinking.
Sarap yun
Yeah.
Double Black.
And, I was drunk. And at the back of my head, I was thinking about what my wife said. And I looked at Ernest, who was also drunk, and I told him, I had, biglang just came to my head. I said to Ernest, you guys, you have all of these printers in the showroom. Why don't you give me one? I don't want to pay for it. I just want to use it. And he's like, what's in it for me? I'll buy the inks from you. Diba? If I'm successful, I just end up and buy more inks. If nothing happens, I return to you what is yours. Kasi hindi ko naman inaangkin yung printer.
Yeah. Oo nga.
Diba? Yeah. Following day, diba, I remembered what I said, and I had to call up Ernest. And I go, Ernest, you remember last night what happened? Yeah. Lasing ka. You remember? Oo. But you still remembered what we talked about.
Maraming nabubuong mga plano pag sa inuman.
Yeah, he goes, yeah. So, si Ernest pitched it to the higher-ups. And then they were like, gusto ni Avila yung isa sa mga printers natin. Oo. Hindi nga babayaran. Hindi ho. Pero sa atin, bibili ng tinta. Yes, ma'am. Patawag mo nga. So, I went to Canon and it was the same thing. You want one of our printers? Yes. You won't pay for it? No. But you will buy inks from us? Yes. Kako, I will earn from it. If I am successful, you earn off the inks. If nothing happens, I return to you the printer. What is yours?
That's how you do. That's how you do business, Maki, di ba? That's how you do business, Maki, di ba?
Then they agreed. Then after that meeting, I was like, where do I put the printer? Diba? Kasi wala akong foot traffic sa studio sa Green Hills.
Wala.
Across from me is Coco's Beauty Parlor. I could not, hindi ako aasa yung mga
Maki, yung studio niya before sa Green Hills is located to yung restaurant, yung Chinese restaurant, Red Coral ba yun?
Choi Garden.
Choi Garden doon sa Annapolis. Doon yung niya.
So, around that time, si Frank Chai was having constructed yung building ng Aperture and Shuttermaster. Yeah.
Yeah, the one in Scout area. Yeah.
Oh, so I went to Frank and I said, Frank, I got this printer here. Baka we can put it to showroom. Tapos, go into business, offer printing. And Frank said yes.
So yun na. Na-monetize mo nga yung tama nga.
Yeah.
It's a long process, but you were able to do it.
I had to get drunk. But yeah.
Rap. All right. So, sige, dagdag your opinion, what is the art of teaching?
You cannot teach if you cannot tell a story.
Correct. Very good. I
Well,
totally
kasi
agree with that.
if I just wanted to teach, I can just read out of the book.
That's exactly my di ba? Sabi ko nga that's why I love listening to you when you teach, and it's you're
kasi
different. Yun yung sasabi ko.
My daughter was asking something about history to my wife. And then my wife wasn't sure what it was. And I go, remember, that's when Spain lost the Spanish-American War. So, as part of the package, they got the Philippines and we sent a delegation, but it was too late. So, by the time they got their done deal, and we became an American Commonwealth. And I learned that in grade 5, only because my teacher told such a good story about it.
And you remember that because of that, di ba?
Wow, ito pala yung generation ng hindi umabot sa Majoha. Sa Majoha.
Bakit you were waiting na meron kang talagang yun?
Oo. Hindi, nakaka-disappoint talaga yun.
Kasi earlier, di ba?
We were the generation that believed that Malakas and Maganda was an old Filipino folktale.
Oo.
Yeah.
Oo.
Propaganda pala, no? Okay.
Napapalo tayo. Can anyone be a teacher, brother? Can you learn it as a skill, or is it a talent?
No, you can learn it. Kailangan lang magaling ka magkwento. I think
Yun lang.
Wig said it the best when Wig is an ambassador, he has to give these talks.
Alam mo si Wig, ang hirap ligawan dito sa show Nirekomenda na nga ni Sir Bien yan nahihiya lang ayaw magpa-interview sa amin and I know ang maraming dala-dala story
No, because yun ang words vision ni Wig marami akong baon na kwento.
Si Maki, kailangan mo na trabaho talaga si Wig sabi maraming baon na kwento, imagine mo yun So anyone can pala. Follow up muna kayo, Romel, Maki. Sige, I'm trying to figure out yung inaayos ko na yun dito yung mga final and I'll go for those finishing Go.
Hindi, gusto ko lang i-emphasize yung sinabi kanina ni Sir John na during his studying years yung sa English, or is it the English or the literature type? He was into extemporaneous.
No, it was part of the class.
Part of the class.
Okay. Part,
Now, kasi nga, yun nga, one of the things that I learned din kasi dun sa English professor ko, siya rin yung naging daan sa akin on how to become serious when it comes to public speaking. Kasi doon talaga matututunan yan. Kung hindi mo kayang to put into thoughts and into words yung natututunan mo or yung nababasa mo, you can never, like you said, iba yung binasa mo lang sa libro, iba yung pag in-explain mo na siya sa tao in a way na maiintindihan na niya. Kasi ibig sabihin, kung ikaw hindi mo ma-explain sa ibang tao yung nabasa mo, hindi mo naiintindihan yung binasa mo.
Oo naman.
True, Maki. True yun.
When extemporaneous, yung extemporaneous na it's either speech or the literature, yun yung hahasa sa'yo into, yun nga, kasi parang mo sinabi kanina Sir John di sana pala kung sasabihin mo rin na kung ano yung nilagay doon sa libro, di flash mo na lang sa harapan niya.
Exactly, di ba? Yun nga
I remember what Father Leonard told me before. He was a Jesuit priest, history teacher ko. He told me about his style of teaching. If someone asks me a question that I don't know, I'm going to ask someone else in class. If that person doesn't know, I'm going to get angry at the whole class and tell them to research about it. Send them home. I'm going to go to my office, read up on it, and following day talk about it and make them give me a report.
That's So, ayun. Alright.
Good. Ako may follow through naman ako. Sir Joe kasi, normally, lang natin what's good about in teaching, ganyan. Ang question ko lang, ano yung mahirap sa pagtuturo and how did you overcome it?
Wala.
Kasi mga tanong, ano ba ang maganda sa pagtuturo? Let's go
the challenge of teaching. So, ano yung nag-challenge? Okay.
You know, the hard part really is trying to improve what you do. And at one point, I'm very reliant on the feedback of the students. Like, I had this one student, I was teaching basic Photoshop as part of basic photography. Diba? And, mahaba yung klase simply because you had to give students enough time to write down notes. Yeah. Then yung
isang... naalala ko yung write down notes na yun. Okay, go.
Yeah. Then one student said, sana may video. And they're like, you just said it during class. And like, So I started researching about screen capture software, how to record.
Yeah.
And I rushed it for that batch. Yung at the end of it all, sabi ko, and here is the video of all the important modules about Photoshop that we discussed the other week.
Pero Romel, Maki, na ngayon na nakikita yung sabi ko sa iyo when he tries to explain na you could feel the fun, the excitement of telling the story kung bakit habang ginagawa niya. Ngayon ini-explain niya yung kinukwento niya yung what he did for the student. You could still feel the excitement.
CD na po ba yun? O yung floppy? O yung isang mas malaki?
Baka may kasamang panglalait yung talog na yun
Tatanong ko kasi naabutan ko nga yung
DVD naman.
DVD. Rewrite DVDR. Ayun, DVDR naman siya.
Kasi naabutan ko
I remember there was this
floppy.
I was
quadrant.
Ano yun? Sinaslide down pa yung maliit na square para daw hindi, tama ba? Para hindi magka-virus. Tama ba? Yun ba yun?
Diskette na yun. Ang yung flap, yeah. Okay, you have the 5 1/4 and the 3 1/2. Okay. The 3 1/2 is sabi mo, the one with the lock, pare.
May kwento ko dyan when I was working at Ateneo. This was like mga mid-90s. Students had to bring their own computers and then, floppy pa rin yung iba eh.
Floppy.
Then,
ano ka ba?
Yeah.
Padre Faura, nandun lahat ng mga flop doon mo makikita. Verbatim, di ba?
Verbatim, yun.
You always wanted a group mate with a computer. So there was this one group, the guy had the computer, pero walang hard drive. Wala siyang hard drive. So ang sabi ng mga group mate niya, we'll buy you a hard drive.
Wow. Para lang mo.
Di ba? Like, rich kids, sige.
Rich kids yan di ba?
On the day that work had to be done, saan yung hard drive? We'll just buy it there later. So they show up with yung diskette. Yung 3 1/2. Paano yung naging hard drive? Di ba? Paano yung naging hard drive? Di kumuha ng floppy. Di ba ito soft? Ito matigas, hard.
Hard drive.
Philosopher.
The stories before na there was this one group, they lost their data and they were asked, did you make copies? Yes.
Yeah.
Where is it? Parang naglabas ng photocopy ng mga floppy.
Shit.
Very bright.
Bright talaga.
Ateneo
ba yung bright mo? Parang ibang school pagka-piloso pa nito.
This is around the time I told you na we were the generation that grew up using typewriters. First time mo gagamit ng computer, college. Like, I think by the time I left high school, may computer na. Sometime during high school, I think second or third year high school.
Meron na yan.
We were storing data on cassette.
Hindi ko naman naabutan yun.
Alam ko yung date, alam ko yung cassette sinasabi mong kalimutan ko yun.
Park cassette hindi punch card. Cassette.
Oh, cassette. Punch card pa, bir. Old school masyado yun. Punch card. Alright, magkakaano tayo ng mga edad sobra dito. I feel so old now. Alright, Joe, what makes a good photographer and what makes a bad one?
Ako yung batayan ko palagi is all that you're doing with your photos is you're trying to tell a story. So, were you able to tell the story or not?
Now, by saying that, one time I visited your studio sa Green Hills and you guys are parang laughing about something and you were talking about, if I'm still trying to figure out kung tama tong grass eating cow eating grass thing.
Cow eating grass.
You guys were talking about that and you were laughing and until now I didn't get the joke. I didn't until now. Yeah.
During, you would talk about composition and it was the same thing. You have to discuss what makes a good photo. Diba? So sabi ko, I have rules when it comes to photography. And sabi ko, my number one rule is the worst photo you'll ever take is a photo of a cow eating grass.
Okay, yan yung worst photo daw na magagawa. Cow eating grass.
So, ito yung kwento. When I was a child, I was watching Sesame Street and there was a comedy skit between Ernie and Bert. Si Ernie went up to Bert and told Bert, let's play a game. The game is called What Happened Here? So Ernie showed a photo of a bird cage na nakabukas yung door. And Ernie asked Bert, what happened here? And then Bert said, well, the bird cage flew out of the bird flew out of the cage. Diba? Ay, yan na. Then another photo is may banana peel on the ground. Then there's a man
lying down.
Dumulas.
Mid-air. Okay.
What happened here? The man slipped on the banana peel. Then Ernie brings out a blank piece of paper. What happened here? Huh? What do you mean, what happened there? There's nothing there. This Ernie was like, this is a picture of a cow eating grass. And she's like, where's the grass? Ernie goes, the cow ate it all. Diba? Where's the cow? Why should it stay around after it ate all of the grass? Diba?
Now I got
the worst photo you'll ever shoot is the one
I heard that 2006 yata and ngayon ko lang naitalog sa'yo ngayon ko lang nalaman yung talaga story lintik yan. How many years 2006 up to 2022 ngayon ko lang nalaman yung story.
Pero ako, I had a very hard time figuring out how to convey that mentality to my students. That's the worst photo you'll ever take. And naalala ko, teka lang.
It's for short na no one gets it. Parang gano'n na lang. Your story na no one gets it. Sabi, gano'n na yun di ba?
No, yung mentality hindi magets. Then I remember that story of Ernie and Bert from when I was in grade school. Yun ang ginamit yung example. And people remember.
Okay. Ayan nakita nyo. Natanong ko na masaya na ako. Alright. Meron ako. One more personal then I'll go for my Kindly describe Joe Avila at work and at home. What's the difference between the Joe Avila at home and at work?
At work, I tend to be very focused. At home, I'm very distracted. I remember before, when I was still shooting weddings, I would go to the studio and just edit overnight photos. I would edit wedding photos and lay it out. And my wife used to ask, why? Why can't you do it at home? You have a computer here at home. And I'm like, well, kasi when I'm at home, there are distractions. Diba? There's the TV. The kids will need help with something.
Mm-hmm.
In the studio, I don't even have a cell signal. Diba? The studio was one big dead spot.
I know. Oo, naalala ko.
Diba?
Oo.
Sabi ko, yung trabaho ng isang linggo sa bahay, overnight lang sa studio. Actually, I had a student who got into trouble because of that.
Oo, kasi hanapin ka ng asawa mo doon tapos hindi ka sumasagot.
Mismo. The student came to me the following session, second session. Student tells me, Inaway ako ng misis ko. Ayaw maniwala na
Dead spot.
I took their class kasi hindi raw ako ma-reach. Ayaw maniwala na walang signal sa Green Hills. Ano nangyari?
Nasa
Buti na
loob
lang
ng
yung
building, puro kakapal ng pader, pabera.
diba? Sabi nga, buti na lang you borrowed my camera and took photos as demo during the class. Ron lang naniwala.
How do you spend your me time?
Me time ko?
Fort-
Right now, it's either Fortnite, I'm reading manga, I'm watching anime.
Ayun, no? Diba? Kaya you're, kaya nga. Sige nga, matanong nga kita. Marvel or DC? Sige na nga, siksik ko na nga yan.
Marvel. Mas relatable eh.
Mas relatable. But why? Parang nga, no?
Well, tignan mo to. Flash. Tinamaan ng kidlat, naging mabilis. Superman, Alien. Diba? Visited us.
Oo nga naman.
Okay. I have si Iron Man, recovering alcoholic. I have mutants. Diba? X-Men. Ano yun? Yun ang marginalized sector of society na may prejudice. Diba? Ang mga tao against.
I didn't even see X-Men that way, but you made it. Okay, sige, napaisip ako, sige.
Oo nga, no?
Diba? Oh.
Okay, relatable. So, tama ka. Okay. Top 5 superheroes, brother.
Oh, God. Batman, Deku.
Who's Deku?
My Hero Academia. Yan.
Okay.
Oh, wait, kasi,
Boku no.
number
Ano
one
yan?
si
Boku
Batman.
no. Magkaiba yan ha. Boku no. Tsaka, yung original title.
Oo.
Alam ni Sergio. Alam ni
Loko
Sergio.
kayo.
Okay, go. Sige.
Okay. So, Batman, Deku, Spider-Man. Actually, wala na akong 4 and 5 eh. Yung tatlo lang na
Wala ka
yun.
na for. Okay na yan. Top 3 is good naman. If given a chance to be a comic character, what would you be? A villain or a hero? And what skills?
Ano siya? Villain.
Anong power?
Mas masaya
Anong
eh.
skill? Oo.
Ano?
Maraming kalaban.
Traffic ka lang.
Well, they have more fun.
Yeah, kasi pressure kasi gagawa lang naman sila. Yun yung enjoyment.
Well,
So what's the
mo,
skills?
isipin
What's
mo,
your skills?
Kahit ilang beses silang ikulong, nakakatakas. Diba? Mas worse sa DC. Nakakasali pa ng Suicide Squad.
Oh, di ba?
Oo nga, no?
Oh, di ba?
Diba? You're working pa for your pardon.
Oh, di ba? May spin-off pa yun, pambira, di ba? Yun yung ano dyan di ba? Ano skills? Just in case.
Simple lang yan. I want to be the weakness of whoever is in front of me.
Want to be the weakness of anyone in front of me. Ang pambihira yun Parang walang tatalo sa iyo nun
Hindi, problema ron si Batman eh.
Bakit?
Superpower niya, he's rich eh. So I'll be poor. So siya yung Waterloo ko.
Oo nga naman, no?
O nangungutang. Pwede mo utangan, mauubos rin yung pera niyo. Yun. Since multiverse is a thing now, could you think of your version in 3 dimension? What would be Joe Avila do on that 3 dimension?
Multitask
Pa rin.
Yeah. So there would be this one of me at work printing. Then another one of me taking care of a family. Then another one of me just playing my video games.
Ano nga? Galing.
Balance, di ba?
Di ba balance? Balance. O, di ba?
Hindi puro work, no? Balance.
Wow, nag-coming from Romel, Maki. Tama ba yun?
Malay mo naman, gusto niya talaga, dinedevelop niya talaga yon, yung skill na yon ng multitask.
Joe, what makes you happy?
Ano siya? Knowing I was right.
So simple, but yeah. Tama ba? Maki?
Kasi ano yun eh.
Huwag ka naman puntahan yun!
No. Kasi ano yan eh.
No.
Like for example, a client comes to me and tells me, Joe, I want you to print this photo. And then may pinapa-adjust. And I'm like, it's gonna be too dark. No. You print it that way. And the print comes out dark. And Joe, can you make it brighter? Told you. And of course, they have to pay for the reject. Kasi
Stop
nasunod
it
sila
there.
ron.
Itigil natin yun doon.
You know why, Maki? Basta ayaw ko kwento, maiipit si Maki. Sige na lang. Pero tama ka, Jo. Basta tama. Tama ba siya, Maki? Sabihin mo na lang, tama ba? Tama. Okay, Maki. Validated ka na, Maki. Ha? Validated ka na.
This is like, I got this from my dad.
Okay.
Yeah. When he was starting out as a pilot, may kaaway siya, inaalas ka siya palagi.
Okay.
Then, dad eventually becomes an administrative check pilot. So he's with management and he trains other pilots to fly. And then yung nangaalasa sa kanya all those years ago was up for promotion. But he needed skills. So he goes up to my dad, nagpapaturo, nagmamakaawa. So my dad comes home one day smiling. And I go, Dad, why? Tapos kwento niya.
Ganyan may tumawag sa akin sa araw eh. Ganyan may tumawag sa akin sa araw eh.
He's just saying, he was just saying all night long, oh, revenge, sweet revenge.
Wala antok ni Maki.
Maki, nakaka-relate ka?
Nakaka-relate yan. Saka na lang siya. Pero thank you, Joe, for validating us.
No, remember, you don't need me to validate you. You can validate
It's more of, alam naman namin na sa tama kami. Ang ano na lang doon is, may iba pang, bakit wala, ay Romela, hindi ka pinag-usapan, baka nagagalit ka. Baka alam mo naman, ikaw lagi problema namin. Hindi lang ikaw ang problema namin, marami ring iba. Alright. Joe, what is your most prized possession?
Now? Dalawa.
Go.
My tablet and my Switch.
Lagi lang hawak ka na. Guys, tanungin na nga kita. Bumili ka ng USB hub ah. Yeah, go.
If you're asking me, okay, it would be my tablet, my Nintendo Switch, and my bicycles.
Bicycles.
Are you into bikes? Adik ka pa rin sa bikes ngayon? You're knowledgeable of bikes? Because if you do, I'll bring you in one of our sessions of Boring Mondays that would have a panel that would talk about bikes. Are you
Actually, ang kukunin mo dyan, si Frank Chai.
Nga pala. Hindi, si Frank may iba ako kasi di ba mayroon kami isang show na the shop series that would feature and talk about the history of a shop. So, syempre naman, siguro pwede ko na ba interview. Si Frank,
yeah, pero minor partner siya in a bicycle shop.
Oh, pwede nga. Maki, coordinate ka kay Joe. Tama, si Sir Frank pala.
Frank is more of a bike geek than me.
Hindi ka pa ba?
Yeah. No, kasi, like, remember, most of my bikes are from the 90s. I only have, like,
BMX. O yung pring.
Wait, I have the first mountain bike that I ever had from 91, 92. I have my father's road bikes from the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I only have 2 bikes from this decade.
Okay.
A folding bike and a gravel bike.
Nice one.
Okay. Ito pa, almost done. Tapos sila, Maki kayo yung process sa inyo ko papabanat. Sir Jo, what does knowledge means to you? Knowledge.
Ano siya? Knowing what to do.
That's
Actually,
important.
Well, yeah, knowing what to do, pero I need wisdom if I should do it or not.
Yun!
Maki, baksak pa rin talaga doon yun lahat eh. Dapat, alam mo si Joy started to look like Maki, an older version of Maki. Maki, yung
Wait, kasi
sense of ano nyo eh.
I know what I have to say.
It's like talking to
But
Maki in a different age bracket. And so,
diba? I know what I have to say, but it's the wisdom of should I have said that?
Exactly! Nabiktima ako niya!
nabiktima sa
Ay, wag. Okay na yan. Let's leave it at
okay, so dito, Maki, yung nakikita niyo yung last, huhuli ko na to. Ito yung final question ko, pero you take on the, I'll prep it up for Sir Jo. Jo, we prepared a series of questions that you could answer within 5 seconds per questions. Now, this is ano lang naman to eh. Ginaya ko lang to from Vanity Fair. It's called the PROS questionnaire. So, it's more of a psychological question to get to know the first reactions, the first word, the first thing that you can think of. So, Maki and Romel would read it out. So 5 seconds per question. You could say you could pass if you can't answer. So that's it. So it's composed of how many questions? 35 questions.
35.
So Maki, Romel, kayo na bahala maghati dito.
1 to 15 yung sa akin, Maki. 1 to 15.
Wow, talaga kinuha niya yung ano. Yun yung pumunta.
Oo, talaga. Alright, Maki. Romel, take over.
Okay,
Go.
sige. Ito po yung question number 1. What is your idea of perfect happiness?
Nothing left to do.
Alright.
Okay.
Next.
What is your greatest fear?
Drowning.
What is the trait you most deplore in yourself?
I should not have said that.
Okay, what is the trait you most deplore in others?
They should have listened to me.
Which living person do you most admire?
Damn. My wife.
Tama yan. Tama yun, Jo. Tama yung sinagot mo.
Tumpak yan. What is your greatest extravagance?
My ebooks.
What is your current state of mind?
Naiinip. Bilisan mo.
What do you consider the most overrated virtue?
Patience.
On what occasion do you lie?
Depends.
Depends.
What do you most dislike about your appearance?
Oh, that's simple.
Photoshop.
Liquify.
Which living person do you most despise?
He's somewhere in Canada, last I heard.
Okay. What is the quality what is the quality you most like in a man?
Honesty.
What is the quality you most like in a woman?
Honesty.
Which words or phrases do you most overuse?
Alam mo.
What or who is the greatest love of your life?
Tinatanong. My wife. Okay.
Okay, Maki, ko naman.
Maki, nahirapan ako sa pag-English, Romeo. Kala ko bibigay eh. Sige na.
Okay. When and where were you happiest?
When I saw my wife walk down the aisle.
Yeah. Which talent would you most like to have?
Singing.
If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be? If you could, what do you consider your greatest achievement?
All the students I've taught.
If you were to die and come back as a person or a thing, what would it be?
Damn, that's hard. Uh, a pig in a stud farm.
Where would you most like to live?
I know you are creative, but that's too... Huh? Okay.
Paliwanag ko sa mamaya sa'yo, bakit?
Sige, mamaya natin pala bakit.
So where would
I don't
you
know if
most
it's...
like to live?
Is it something kinky or what?
No, may kwento lang yan eh. Oh.
May kwento ba? Alright, sige. Continue back.
So where would you most like to live?
Japan.
What is your most treasured possession? Actually, nasagot yan kanina, di ba?
Oo.
Yung ano niya, yung the Switch tablet. So ano yan eh?
Well, actually, I would have said PS4, pero sira yung PS4 ko ngayon. So,
yeah. What do you regard as the lowest depth of misery?
You know, that time na I had COVID na I didn't know if I could get out of the hospital or not.
Yeah. What is your favorite occupation?
Out of everything I've done, teaching.
What is your most marked characteristic?
Bluntness.
What do you most value in your friends?
Honesty.
Who are your favorite writers?
Paul Medina.
Who is your hero of fiction?
Batman.
Batman.
Which historical figure do you most identify with?
Sino nga ba yun? Yung second in command ni Magellan.
Yeah.
Hindi lang. Can you share? I'm lost.
Well, kasi Magellan never finished the trip. His second in command did.
Yun, siya yung nag-ano, pero kasi Magellan kasi nag-first conqueror, kaya sa kanya pa rin nakano eh. Pero I remember that guy.
No, but remember, it's a fallacy when you say he discovered us kasi we were here. He came to us.
He visited us, not discovered us.
Who are your heroes in real life?
My wife, my dad, my mom. Especially my mom.
What are your favorite names?
For me?
Yeah.
Jo, kasi people sometimes think I'm a girl.
What is it that you most dislike?
In general to, no?
Now, traffic?
Dito sa
Traffic
atin,
and
no?
cost of gas.
Oh, yeah.
What is your greatest regret?
You know, I should have taken philosophy more seriously.
And how would you like to die?
Quickly.
What is your motto? And this is the final question.
What is your motto?
What?
What is your motto?
Your motto?
Get it done.
Get it done.
And finally, the last question for me. What's next for Joe Avila?
Well, I hope that I can keep on printing for a very, very long time. Honestly, it's more relaxing for me right now to print than to shoot. The deadlines are easier. Diba? Kasi pag shoot, usually I value my client's opinion, but it's only in printing na nakakatikim ako ng kliyente that tells me, Joe, bahala ka na.
You have that full creative control of whatever's gonna go out that printer, diba?
Yeah.
You have a point there. Parang sarap mag-print may sikal, hindi ka kontrolado ng kliyente mo.
No, especially now we get a lot of clients who are not physically present.
Yeah. Send the file lang.
Send the file, they pay you GCash. You send the print to them via Lalamove or Grab.
And it's done. It's a done deal.
It's done. Oh.
Yeah, that's good. Ayun. And we just completed, di ba?
Joe, you just survived Park Your Life.
Alam ko, you just survived boring Mondays.
No, boring Mondays is different. It's just for talaga photography. Pero
opo.
now, I'll let the my two boys, Maki, you want to say something before I let Joe say his parting
Of course,
words?
first and foremost, big thank you for accepting the invitation here in Park Here Live, and for sharing these wonderful stories, and for making me realize what I will become 10 years from
10 years from now.
And what Maki would say to his friend, in your face.
I told you so.
I told you so.
I told ya.
Seriously, this is easily one of those episodes where, the takeaway, the story, the essence of what Park Here Live has been in full view. Ito yun. Ito talaga yun. Yung
You
easily.
get to know,
Out of
the
bat,
person na hindi yung nagpiprate sa'yo or the Joe Avila who taught you that.
Mhm.
You get to know the person here. How,
Yeah.
saan galing yung personality niya, why ganun siya, or he doesn't need to explain it, but now, at least we have...
And he doesn't need anyone to validate his taste.
Yeah! Naluto tayo doon.
Your turn, Romel.
Robel,
Ayun, sa akin lang, maraming salamat.
Pero sa first time ko si Romel, hindi naging madaldal na
Uy,
ano.
naputa yung jacket mo.
Nainitan.
Medyo mainit.
May sir, siya, he doesn't need to explain sa iyo dahil kahit sa sobrang rami yung ilaw tas walang aircon tas nakakotek, alam mo na naman.
medyo nagmantika na po.
Nagmantika, it's either baka lang mahilo eh. Nakita ko gumaganon.
Pero yun po, maraming salamat. Actually, na-inspire po ako doon sa mga istorya nyo po, nakakaaliw po yung mga istorya ang sinabi nyo po, lalong-lalo na yung mga, ayun nga, yung does it anyone to validate my taste yan. Talagang
pag mo hindi mo naman pwede gamitin ng gawin. Pag mo gamitin, make sure naman.
Yun nga.
Baka matulad, si Maki ang unang tatawa sa'yo pag ganyan. Baka, I told you so, diba?
Alam niyo naman na hindi naman ako laging pasalita lagi. Yeah. Pero ayun, maraming salamat po talaga.
So, diba?
Nakakatuwa po tong episode na to, Sir Joe. Yeah.
Sa akin, Sergio, again, alam mo naman, ever since, alam mo naman yung respeto ko sa iyo is always there. It's the friendship. Shit you. Sunugin ko ang bahay mo. Hindi mo tayo nakita.
My house is higher than yours. Madali lang.
Oo nga, malayo. Pero matagal ka mapuput. Wala makukuha ng tubig bumbero pag sinunog ko yan. Anyway, Sir John, again, sabi ko seriously speaking, we've been friends for how many years now? We've been village, magkakasama tayo sa village na we don't normally talk. Pero once in a while, we bump to each other. Pero again, sabi ko nga it's always fun to just bump with you and talk to you. Why? Naaliw ako aliw. And I don't normally relate to other people that way or even parang pagdating let's say we talk about photos, I don't normally parang give way and just I normally pagdat sa iyo I normally listen. Why? Because I want to. Yun I want to, and it's different pagdating sa iyo. Now, it was an honor to have you here to hear part of the story at who's Joe Avila and sharing it to us and to the viewers. Ang galing, nakakatuwa. And now, mas naintindihan ko ngayon yung persona. Now I know about the cow, di ba? Now I know about the story about the Mr. Kodaker and that yung sobrang yabang na email address. And saan nanggaling yung yung personality mo, why you're a great teacher and why you talk kasi Atenista. Tama. Kaya pag may pag-aaral kasi Ateneo yung pag-aaralan. Hindi naman totoo. Ito yung dapat paglalaban natin.
Hindi alam mo. During that time, I never realized that it would come in handy for what I would eventually end up doing.
Yeah. True.
Pero, dude, you are one of those, sabi ko nga, you are one of the foundation of this Philippine photography industry, kung bakit ang maraming marunong na, bakit maraming magaling, ang maraming dumaan sa'yo eh. And kaya sabi ko sa'yo, bumalik ka, hindi ka pa pwedeng mawala. Hindi ka pwedeng mawala. Hanggat kaya mo tumayo, hanggat may buhok pa yan, pwede pa, go lang tayo.
Sergio, laban lang tayo, laban.
Laban lang. Ito yung mga si Romel, laban.
Pare, may pangalan na sila eh. Ganun kakunti na yan eh. I individually name them.
Paps, gawin mo yung ginagawa ni Romel. Ang laban niya, kahit may patilyan na lang natitira, okay lang sa kanya.
Actually, hindi naman problema mo quantity. Problema ko geography eh. I cannot
mahirap yun. Anyway, dude, thank you very much. Really, it was a pleasure and it was so nice to have you and finally talk to you again. And natutuwa lang. Wala na akong masabi kasi nasagot mo lahat ng tanong. You were able, with flying colors, kati mo, natuwa. Kung masaya si Maki, masaya ako. Sobrang tuwa si Maki. Nakita niya sarili niya na after how many years, Maki? Nakikita niya
10 years from
the personality, the bluntness. Naku, Maki, wait till the hair is gone. Ayan na.
Bakit malapit-lapit ka na?
Malapit-lapit
Mamaya,
ka na.
let's talk about the pig.
The pig. I'm curious about that. All right, Sergio, now your turn. Kylie, your parting word inspiration words for everyone who's undergoing trials or probably, why the reason why we came up with this show. We started during the pandemic, 2020, because we can travel, we can reach out, we can teach people. We found a way to refocus our creative thing. And we came up with this show. Now, sabi ko, just doing this na tayo-tayo lang is not enough. We have to bring people like you, other people who could inspire, share things. And ito, after almost 2 years, we've been doing it. And with no regrets, kahit walang kita, ito yung podcast na akala namin magiging milyonaryo kami. Hindi pala, 100 pa lang kinikita namin. Yabang namin. Bili-bili kami ng mamahaling mic. Hanggang ngayon, hindi pa bayad. Di ba? Yung mga ganyan. So,
yung sa akin, hiniram ko lang sa Shuttermaster showroom.
Buti sa'yo.
Ay, Shuttermaster, thank you for the microphone.
Can I just plug the mic?
Sure. Yeah, brother.
Yeah.
It's the Avermedia.
Maganda, ang alam ko ang Avermedia maganda yung niya, may webcam rin silang na maganda na I've been seeing before.
Actually, sa showroom, katabi niya. Yung webcam, katabi nito sa showroom.
Ganda yun. Maganda review yun. Actually, I'm using kasi the Brio, pero ang lumampas sa Brio is yan, yung Avermedia na may version sila. Kasi ang maganda sa Avermedia kumpara sa ibang webcam, they have that software that could control full manual control for short. So you could control the colors, everything, the shutter speed. So yun yung kagandahan sa kanya. Yun yung kumpara dito sa mga to. Puro para full auto.
Shout out to Avermedia and Shuttermaster.
Yeah.
Joe Avila, the microphone for tonight's session.
Okay, Sergio, your turn to inspire people. Your final parting words to people na undergoing trials until now. At alam mo, sana we're going back to normal and sana tuloy-tuloy na.
Guys, I know, the alert level is going down, but keep safe. We're still not out of it. And of course, if you're just gonna go out of the house, please pass by Shuttermaster Pro QC and buy stuff from us and get your photos printed.
Yun, ganda ng get your
life is good, but
printed.
money is better.
Gusto ko yan. Gusto ko yan. Invest. Raming dyan invest. May mga pwede kayo mag-invest, di ba, Maki?
Open-minded ka ba?
Hindi eh. Maraming nag-uusap rin kami ni Maki sa mga ganyan open-minded. Marami na ayaw ko. Kami na makawalan dyan. Ayaw ko open-minded. Ayaw. Alright. Anyway, so guys, I guess we're done again. In behalf of the team, Sergio, maraming salamat for dropping by and sharing it. And that's it, folks. Thanks for watching episode 21 of Mr. Kodaker with Avila. Dude. Parting words, we don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. I have to quote that kasi pasok na pasok kay Sir Joy yan, and that's why he's enjoying life. Hindi yan tumatanda eh.
Guys,
alright,
kung hahanapin nyo ko sa Fortnite, Mr. Kodaker pa rin ako.
Mr. Kodaker.
Yes!
Tanda lang, addict na. Addict to naglalaro siguro. Kasi the first, magaling, alam mo, sa Fortnite, sino magaling na nakalaban ko doon? Anak ni Ricky Laja.
Sabi ko na nga mo, pinibita mo yung anak ni Sir Ricky Laja.
Anak niya. You have to,
like, I win siguro mga like 5 times in a season.
Kasi yun, grabe.
Pare, yeah, pero like I play like 30 times a night, no? So that's
kasi naman, no?
Addict yan. Pops, addict yan. Pag ganyan, hindi na naglalaro every day. Anyway, guys, good night, and see you on episode 22 next. Sino ba nakasama? Close mo na kasi, wag mo na natin announce pa na. Sige. Anyway, guys, good night. I'll see you next week for Boring Mondays with Henry's Camera. Nga pala, Making, sige, isang plugin nga pa, push nga natin. Ay, nga pala, may photo pa tayo. No? Anyway, Making, wala pala dito. Alright, sige, saka na lang. Ano yun, Mac? What are you doing?
Picture.
Wait, ano mo muna to? Final promote mo muna to.
For this coming Monday, next week, April 25, this is gonna be the first of the new series art by Boring Mondays, and this is the Shop series. And on the spotlight for the first time is gonna be Henry's Camera. This is gonna be Nicholson,
the owners of Camera,
and the siblings that inherited Henry's Camera. So first time.
Yeah. Alright, picture na. Alisin ko lang yung mga branding para picture na natin, mahal yan. Hindi na natin makukuha na ng litrato ulit. Baka singilin na tayo. Stupid system. Yeah, there you go. Alright, strike a pose. Shit, no. Shift command 3. One more. Alright, so guys, we're done. We're
420.
Happy 420 nga pala tayo ngayon. Guys, isa pa nga ito.
Ay, paging.
Paging. Bullshit. Anyway, guys, good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Camera out, guys. Peace.
If you've enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe to Park Here so you don't miss our next shows. Thanks for tuning in.